making sure you're onto a page. You passed the first test. You've been away for 6 months, so I've got to make the Boolarra versus Hill End game. Of course, Hill End perennial finalists, and Boolarra finding their way back into the postseason for the first time in a couple of years. Promises to be a ripping contest.
Yeah, look, Boolarra have set themselves up over the last few years, even through COVID. Done some really good recruiting, got some boys there from Churchill along. The Mason boys got them to the club, and Harvey there, as well as now got a couple of injections in from TTU, which is good to see. Helps a small community like Boolarra step up and be competitive in the big time of the footy here.
And you mentioned the Mason boys. They ran 1-2 in the best and fairest. Boolarra, somewhat unusually to my mind, having their best and fairest count before the final series, and Joel pipping Brendan in a last round comeback from behind and grabbing the older brother for the best and fairest award.
Well, that's always bad when the younger brother pips the older brother.
And of course, Hill End, perennial powerhouse in the last few years. We thought they might have missed their window with the COVID situation, but they're buttering up again, and they'll play finals again today. And Magic Mike Santo, the man in charge there, got the boys ready to go, I'm sure.
Yeah, but they're not going into it as flush as what they would have last year. They were flying high right on top, and probably the year before as well. A little bit disappointing for Hill End. Their big window was those years, so I think Jack Hudson out of that side would have been a real good inclusion for them if he was still playing with them and going into the finals. So hopefully for Mick Santo that they haven't missed their window, but they've certainly been one of the better sides over the last few years.
Yeah, and just to emphasise the Jack Hudson point, he actually made the QAFL Team of the Year up there from second division, so he's that highly regarded that from second division they picked him in the Team of the Year, and he played in the equivalent of the Interleague at that level, so he can seriously kick and catch the lad.
Yeah, he won the VNF for the league there 2019. He was a player to watch, so he's certainly a big loss, but they've seemed to be able to fill the hole and make sure that they're up there firing once again. Unfortunate for Foster this last week, this final six, it tosses up some doozies where normally you get double chance from finishing third, straight out after one finals game.
Yeah, exactly right. I just with but they've been saying it throughout the week, and I'll say it again that if you don't have a scrape the image they did, they're going to really give this Gippsland finals campaign a bit of a good shake-up, and they've done that yesterday by knocking off third spot Foster, and don't be surprised if they go in and they shake up the winner of today.
Yeah, look, we got to coaching Alberton Footy League a while ago, and we had 15 sides in the competition. It was a 6-team final series. We just scraped in the sixth, and Yarram virtually had their all booked for the finals, and we were able to knock them out in the first game. And when you were coaching Devon Robert on Woodside at that stage, it was always good to send Yarram packing on their way in the first finals game.
I think speaking to people around the traps in Gippsland only near the North Gippy at the Illinois North too, Paves, everyone smiles when they beat Yarram, they sort of send Yarram packing, so I don't think they're much like throughout the football and the North Gippy.
They're loved, mate. One of the best clubs going around. That's why they like to pull them down.
And just a quick update here, 1 point in front, Tarwin with about 20 seconds to go, ball on centre wing. So Tarwin, the Sharks up by a point over MDU, and their ruckman doing the right thing and belting the ball back towards the boundary line
MDU
the moment it came back in. But MDU have just put it out of bounds on the full, and that might seal their fate with about 10 seconds to go. Now, this is a close game here. Speaking of close games, Hill End and Boolarra have played one time this year, Paves. What do you reckon the difference between them was?
Was it a draw, mate?
It was a draw. So the one time they've played, they've managed to have a draw. And just having a look at their for and against in terms of their average goals for and against across the course of the year. As the siren sounds in the background there to give Tarwin their 1 point victory. The Boolarra boys, the knock on them across the course of the season has been their inability to kick a score. They've struggled to really get one over the line in terms of a big margin, but they did that against Tura with a big 20-goal finish to their home and away season. They average 8.8 goals a game, but they only give up 7.5 goals a game. So up against the Hill End forward line today that can have anything from Mulqueen, Saunders and Payne down there, I think Boolarra will do well to restrict them to anything under 10 goals today.
Yeah, look, Boolarra's going to rely on their defence because not a great lot of big names there on their goal-kicking forwards. Sam Mizzou's probably the one that can switch from either end of the ground, centre half back, centre half forward. They did it in that last game we went and watched him there at Boolarra to great effect. So he's probably one that can make a difference there down in the forward line against Corbett's probably in their back. They're going to rely on their small forwards to kick goals.
Yeah, so speaking of that, they have made a couple of changes, Boolarra, and one of those will impact their forward line with Michael Cleaver coming in. Michael Cleaver's kicked a bag of five or six maybe even this year, and Jack Charlton comes in for Boolarra. Out, Hamish Towns, who's one of their goal kickers, so that's a big loss for them, and Josh Sagond also unavailable, switching across from Tyres last year to Boolarra this year.
He's gone on leave.
I was going to say, obviously he didn't think Boolarra were going to play finals himself because he's booked a holiday.
I was talking to Tony this morning. He said they sort of knew that at the start of the season. He booked that last year, that holiday. So,
He wasn't real confident that Boolarra were going to be able to out come September.
Well, he was still playing at TTU that time, so he was probably not confident that TTU were going to be playing finals.
Yeah, and just the one change from Hill End's side from last week. Hill End will get Justin Ray back in and Brendan Clark out. So we've got 4th on the ladder versus 5th on the ladder in an elimination final. Fascinating game of football coming up. Big thanks to Pete Rennie, who's working the studio for us today for about the 15th time this year. So we'll throw back to Pete for a few sponsors' messages, and we'll come back with all the action from the first bounce. Boolarra versus Hill End up here at Thorpdale.
Local football.
Onto the ground, sunbathed ground here at Thorpdale. Looks absolutely fantastic day for football. Slight breeze blowing in from the city side of the venue across the ground. Watching the Australian flag there flutter in front of us there, Paves. Gets nice and sentimental.
No, it's, we generally get a bit of a breeze up here at Thorpdale. It's one that comes across the ground. There's not too much coverage from the fields over there to our left-hand side as we look at it, west from the town, westerly, as I'm informed from a farmer. Yeah, so hopefully it just drops off a little bit, and I think it has from earlier on. I think it is actually dropping, so I reckon we're in for a good game of football here today.
And what would you think, if we had to assess the track, we get the penetrometer out, I reckon we're in the dead 5 range out there?
Soft 5.
Soft 5?
Soft 5.
Okay.
Yeah. Just
5 inches of rainfall.
Yeah, it holds the Thorpdale ground seems to hold together pretty well. It's grass. They've done a lot of work over the years, and the grass and the mud sort of, once you get through, she gets a bit slippery, but while the grass is there, it's not too bad.
I remember as a kid coming up here, our white shorts used to be red, and you used to be showering in old stalls over the back here with timber floors, and yeah, it's come a long way.
You definitely had your old Thorpdale shorts and every other ground shorts when you were away. We were playing up here, that's for sure.
Now, a couple of big matchups here, boys. We've got some gun forwards in both sides. Aidan Shears and Michael Cleaver for Boolarra will be down forward. Got a sneaking suspicion we might see Chase Saunders slightly further up the field today. So, Mole Queen and Ash Payne being the probably the two key forwards that will start down there for Hill End. In terms of matchups, I'm thinking potentially a Kyle Hearn would be a good matchup on Ash Payne if Payne plays deep, although Kyle has played a bit of footy forward himself.
Yeah, look, I'm more looking at Ricky Cochran out here. He's kicked 16 goals for him. He's got his hamstring tightly strapped. I reckon he might find himself down in the forward line a little bit more than on ball, which will be a hard match up there for Hill End.
Yeah, very good overhead, Ricky, for a guy of his size. He probably doesn't look like the kind of bloke who's going to take you apart with some big marks, but when he gets out into a lead and you get the ball kicked above his head, he's a lot stronger than he probably looks, and you can just see him there, Paves. He's at that tape already. It's probably not sitting overly comfortable, and not how you want to start a big final for your new club either, I wouldn't have thought.
No, it would be a little bit unfortunate if that is the case. Hopefully it's just a little bit of a twinge. But yeah, Hearn, he's probably a little bit slow. That's the only problem with him. He's going to have to play in front and read the ball well. I reckon Payne, although he's probably was a little bit more mobile in his younger years, a really dynamic forward. So, and with Chase Saunders and Mulqueen down there in the forward line.
Yeah, I think maybe Corbett would be one of the options to go to,
he's going to have to.
One of those guys. But like I say, I've got a sneaking suspicion that we might see Chase further up the field. One of the other players who plays up the field for Hill End that impressed me the two times I've seen him this year was Skinner. I think he's been absolutely fantastic off his wing. Stands out with that big ball bounce of his, and the sun will bounce off that nicely today. But he's outstanding out there in space, and Boolarra will certainly have to show him a bit of respect as well.
Yeah, it's not the Jack Hudson of yesteryear for Hill End, but Jack Singer's certainly got some talent out there.
And also running through the middle was Ben Kerrigan last time I saw Hill End against Shannara. He's got the long sleeve jumper on. He probably doesn't look like a quintessential modern day on baller, but gee, he gets in there and gets the job done week in, week out for the Hillman.
Yeah, and Bouliando is the one I like to watch. He's fairly dynamic in that midfield. He's strong over the ball. He gets his hands on it, feeds it out. He's one of the dead set champions in the middle of the ground.
Well, I think to say that, I think if Ambo and Ben Kerrigan can get first use out of the ball out of the middle and get at the end of the big forwards there, I think Boolarra might have their hands full if they get it going. And then, like you said, you got Chase up on the wing possibly. If he gets going, he's an absolute game changer. So I've said it yesterday, if the crowd starts hating Chase will turn it on, and Chase is a game changer, and he'll play just powerhouse, that kid.
All right, boys, so the Boolarra boys kicking to the clubhouse end here. They're going to come to the commentary box end. Hill End going down the hill. Need a tip and a margin from each of you. Evan, open the batting for us.
Yeah, I want to go Hill End by about 13 points.
Look, I had Tony Giordina as me chairman of selectors there once, so it's going to be hard to go against Boolarra, and I'll say them by 15.
I'll sit somewhere in the middle and say it's going to be closer than that, so I'm going to go Boolarra by 2 points.
2 points? Is that the Churchill connection there, mate?
A little bit of Meso love, just a little bit of Meso love.
It's an interesting one here. We said we we're going to have Kyle Hearn down back. We've actually got him starting up forward by the look of that. So he's let's put a bit of a twist in to start the game. Yeah.
So Aidan Shears and Michael Cleaver in the goal square for Boolarra, and they've cleared out the rest of their forward 50.
That would be putting Zam Mizzou back down with a little bit more pace. I think they're in the back line to pick up.
Yep. So Mizzou's gone to the far end, and if you can work out who he's on, you're doing better than I can, because I cannot see that far at the moment. But we'll work that out as we go. Into the middle though, we've got the big ruckman for Hill End in Calvin Reese, and he'll go up against Kieran Jones, one of the boom recruits coming across from TTU. Both the Mason boys and Josh Hussey in the middle there for Boolarra, and for Hill End we've got Ambu, Fawcett and Kerrigan in there, and things are underway. Here we go, boys, the elimination final, and Reese does his own handiwork once the ball hits the deck and kicks it forward for the Hillman. Coming out there, meeting the ball at full tilt. Beautiful work up there by Saunders, who started on a half-forward flank. He's kicked the ball in there in the direction of Muggsy Mooker, who's playing deep forward for Hill End today. Ball bounces back down. Muggsy grabs it on the 50, takes a little tumble. I think he might have the moulded soles in, Paves.
Yeah, on a soft 5, you don't want moulded soles.
And it looks like Mizzou takes the resultant kick in from holding the ball decision and comes up to the half-back flank here, and Boolarra will maintain possession. So they now go long down the line towards Kyle Hearn. So Kyle Hearn watches the ball go over his head, goes over his opponent's head, and will have a boundary throw in right in front of the Rennie Property Sales scoreboard for the first time today.
Yeah, I think the Boolarra fellow got some close attention as he kicked it then.
And I wouldn't mind getting the birth certificate of that boundary umpire, who's done a sterling job tossing it in, but looks like they're all of about 4 years of age. So the ball back into play, no one able to get it clear from that stoppage, and the boys sort of pile in. A little bit of flexing going on there around the stoppage, a few push me, pull you, as my mate Trev from the NR Hotel was saying yesterday. Ball hits the deck and Boolarra win the clearance through Mason, but he can't get it far forward. Secondary option goes forward, and mark taken by Cleaver about 40 metres out. He doesn't fancy his chances, chips in short to the pocket to Joel Mason, the best and fairest winner. The left footer on the wrong side for him. Ricky Cochrane gives him a lead. Cochrane takes the ball. Third, fourth jungle. No mark, out of bounds.
Yeah, that's it. There's a match up here with Michael Cleaver and Fiddlers. Fiddlers from Hill End. He's a gun full back, but I think you give Michael Cleaver a couple of metres and he'll make every use of it on Fiddle, so Fiddle's got to tighten up there.
I just don't know how Boolarra expect to score if they're going to pass the ball when they're 30 metres out and got a free kick.
So no one able to take it clear. Ball spills towards the top of the Boolarra goal square, 20 metres out directly in front. Aidan Shears lays a tackle. The closest umpire says, give it to me. The furthest umpire says, have a free kick, Luke Tamino. So Tamino goes backwards via hands to Fawcett. Fawcett looks for a teammate further afield. Mark not taken there on the half-back line. That was dropped by my man Muggsy Mooker, but he recovers well, gets a handball into space there to Fiddlers. He comes back to Mooker, who doubles back and does some really good work there. He delivers long down the line. That'll be my boy Skinner jumping over the back and not taking the mark, but he follows up handy work with a big tackle. Wins the footy, and Hill End will go forward here. There's one-on-ones ahead of the ball if he moves it quickly. Sits on the prune and comes back through the middle to Tamino. He marks in the centre circle. He goes laterally again. They're going across the ground rather than down the ground, and Ryan Ladson drops what he should have taken. Plenty of pressure on here from the Boolarra on ballers, and they pile on right in the white line. Awesome. Centre wing, ball up. I reckon Hill End probably missed a trick by not going forward then, Paves.
Yeah, well and truly. That one kick laterally, and then they should have gone just straight down the middle. Bang.
So the big ruckman, Reese, taps it down, but it only goes as far as Cochrane. He handballs into space there. Mason with it, calls for the boys to run at him, and they run at him, they do. Cleaver in position A, but he's out-muscled by Fiddlers, and he takes a fantastic mark. That's 2-0 to Fiddlers against Cleaver. And he plays on, and he'll go far side of the ground out towards the Rennie Property Sales scoreboard. Has a little bounce, he's loping, he's going about half pace, and he finds Skinner on the lead. I like the long sleeves and the bald head. We won't miss him all day. And if you're going to miss them, the green boots will do it. And he chisels the ball back in towards half-back where the marks dropped. Should have been taken. Hussey and Cochrane in there for Boolarra, and it stacks on the mill. Interesting, Hill End have come laterally 3 times now rather than just go forward. Obviously playing to instructions.
Yeah, look, it's a fairly wide ground here at Thorpdale, so you don't want to get caught too wide. Bring it back in the middle and go straight down there.
So Jones unable to get it out of the ruck, and Kerrigan whacks it forward, but it's picked up there by Mason Brendan.
Great.
He's run down on the cricket pitch, just short of a length, outside off he is.
No
free
talk
kick
to him, he should have had time there.
Free kick will go to Hill End, and they go laterally again. And out there taking the mark, Ladson on this wing. He goes down to half forward, where a really strong mark's taken by Saunders in the half forward line, so he'll look for Payne on the lead. Payne leads into the pocket. Ball skittles through him and rolls out of bounds. Couldn't be further away unless it left the venue, Pave. So
Saunders just need to set it up now and let Payne run onto it.
So I'm going to leave that up to you to call these players, because I've got no overseeing them.
much appreciated.
We've got a boundary throw in.
We've got a boundary throw in from a full-size boundary umpire who gets a full-size throw in. Ball gets over the back of the contest. No one able to take it cleanly initially. Little sideways kick again goes towards Saunders. He's got a one-on-one battle down there that he breaks even in. Ball down, spills out towards half forward. Cracking in hard down there for both sides. Stacks on the mill. The umpire watches and stalks and then calls play on as a kick comes out from Boolarra. Only as far as big Reese, so the ruckman. He pops a handball over to Saunders. Saunders probably gets one in the hammer and tack there. And the umpire agrees.
Yeah, Boolarra bloke just jumped straight to his back then, I think. Saunders will fancy himself from here. He's a fair boot, so We'll see how he goes. He's marked it right. He's going to be kicking from about 55 from the slide angle on the coach's box's side at Thorpdale.
We'll call it home for us, Evo.
Yeah, well, he's just Jumbo's just putting on his line, and Chase gets there, so he'll be up and about, like I said.
It's going to be a hard shot. The wind's blowing across the face.
He'll be aiming for halfway between the left-hand side behind, so I think Boves, you'll have to go. And off he goes, kick on its way, looks good.
Keep coming back.
And it's a great kick from Chase Saunders, and that's the first goal for the day to Hill End. So on a ready property scoreboard, about 6 minutes into the mark. It's 1 goal Hill End to Boolarra, no score.
Yes.
And more importantly than that, Evan, the clubhouse leader for the Inner Hotel Gym's building inspection, goal of the day.
Sorry, Trev, I forgot about you there, mate. I know you had a big. Where were you last night at the shed party? So I reckon you'll be listening and having a few waters, aren't they? But that's your contender, and that is a decent contender from 55 out, Scott.
Well, I can tell you now, he's at the Inner Hotel. He's got the big screen amped up. He's got us on the radio, and Carlton Collingwood's going on at 3:20.
That's right, he was carrying on about how the Blues were going to make the finals.
And Woodside won its first ever final in the Reserve against Rosedale by 9 points.
Ball back in the middle. One through the middle there by Uliando, who kicks the ball a country mile, but he kicks it in the wrong direction, really. It's gone out of bounds, half forward flank for Hill End. So first ever reserves win in the North Kippy for Woodside, or first ever?
First ever finals win in North Kippy for Woodside.
So Michael Duncan making the difference, playing in the twos today perhaps. So Reese gets a tap down, missed by Brendan Mason, who was on the drive-by, and it stacks on the middle on the half-forward flank. Umpires plucked the free kick out of here, no?
They made corners in the thirds.
Umpire said, let's toss it up in the air, and toss it up he does. And big Reese and Jones go at it, ball hits the deck, and that'll be Kerrigan in the long sleeves there, kicks to the dangerous spot, top of the square, drops a chesty. Umpires plucked the free kick though. And I'd love to tell you who it is.
I've got the eyes on it now.
Travis Dyke. Luke Merritt gave away the free kick.
It's number 30, Dane Fawcett, number 31. There we go, this will be a goal, I would think, but it won't be a contender for the Inner Hotel. He's 30 metres out directly in front, should not miss this.
Well, now that you've put the kiss of death on him, let's see how old Dano goes. Comes in from 30.
Left goal post.
Straight through the ideal little, and that's goal number 2 to the Hillman.
And on the ready property scoreboard, we've got Hill End, 2 goals straight, 12. Leading Boolarra at the 7-minute mark of the first quarter, 0-0-0.
Yeah, look, I think Boolarra mucking around with those balls earlier on when they had the chance inside their forward 50, not having a shot on goal. Cost them the chance to sort of take a little bit of ascendancy on the scoreboard.
I think that, with the experience of Michael Cleaver and the amount of footy he's had, you'd think he would be settled enough to go back and put it through the sticks, but unfortunately not to be, so...
2-goal lead.
That's it.
Cochrane into the middle here for Boolarra. Joel Mason going to the goal square. So let's go back to the guts. Big Reese against Jones. Jones gets it down to Cochrane. Cochrane can't take it cleanly. Ball spills back in the direction of Jones, but he's grabbed by Uliando in a tackle. And we'll have a ball up about 5 metres laterally to the centre square. Centre circle even. So the two big ruckmen start a metre apart and then just run straight into each other like they always do. Ball gets tapped down and Skinner grabs it. Gets half a kick only as far as Brendan Mason. Maso kicks the inside, outside, front side, backside, forward. Jolie Mason on the right foot. Joel Mason has a right foot.
That is a contender for the Hotel Gym's building inspection goal of the day.
And Joel Mason has a right foot is the big news for me there. He's played about 5,000 games of football, and that's Scott Lucas-like, the rarest of rare. The right foot kick from Joel.
Come across there.
Come over
the back of the plate. And little right foot snap from 15 metres out, tumbles through. And on the Ready Property Sales scoreboard, we have Boolarra 1 straight goal, 6 points, to Hill End 2 goals, 12 points.
And that change there from Tony Giardina. Cochrane in the middle. He helps get the clearance. Mason forward. Mason kicks the goal. Chalk one up for TG, I'd say.
Yeah, didn't take the ball cleanly, Cochrane, but certainly put pressure over it.
So the umpires actually managed to throw that one up outside the circle, which is rare. Brendan Mason gets a handball out, but only as far as his opponent, who gets a handball forward, and now Skinner ends up with the ball. And I thought he was going to get knocked out there, but does well. Brendan Mason now with another half kick. Finds a teammate in the middle of the ground who takes the mark, and the umpire's going to pay that one.
I reckon he was going to try and run off there. Uliando stopped him, but Ball bounced out of his hands.
And that'll be Daniel Wilson with the footy. He'll look to go laterally here because the runs come from behind from Mizzou. He takes the mark and plays on. Cleaver offers up the little lead, and Cleaver takes a chesty.
Fiddler's caught behind.
That's where Cleaver needs to back himself here. He's a fair kick of the football. Plays on, they're round to the right, round to the left, round back to the right. Throws himself in trouble down to his knees.
And airballs at the under.
Straight over Muggsy Mooker just goes, thumps it back down to the Hill End's forward line. It's enough forward. Back to a Boolarra bloke who spills the marks. Got him.
Here we go, Hill End
Chase Saunders
and marked.
Who we got there?
Dane Fawcett again.
Dane Fawcett goes for a little pass and looking for Saunders, is it?
Yeah, I mean, Saunders down there in the long sleeves. Just come back to Cleves here. We were talking about him. He didn't have the shot on goal from 35 out earlier. He wasn't going to have a shot on goal from 45 out. Yeah, so obviously well read by Fiddlers to not get sucked in and pinned him down, turned the ball over, and they've gone coast to coast to have their third shot at goal in the space of 8 minutes.
So it's about a 45-degree angle, kicking into the breeze. Was it the siren?
It certainly wasn't the siren here.
Couldn't have been. Anyway, Chase Saunders to put the third on the board for the Hillman. Looks straight from here. Is he going to make the distance? No, it's touched, is it? Touched. And for the first point of the day, he'll then move on to 2-1-13 to Boolarra 1-6. So Boolarra now bring the ball back in. Where are they going to go? A bit of indecision there by the fullback. He was looking to play on. He's going to go out the top side of the ground. Comes out of the square, sends it long. Fair bit of pressure there. There's Hill End players everywhere. Eliando picks it up, brushes the player off, gets it out wide. Skinner can't take it. He's knocked off the ball, and then the Hill End player knocked over the line, and we'll have a throw in. So on the far wing, probably closer to Hill End's half forward flank than the middle of the ground, we'll have a throw in. Ball goes up in the air, comes down, and it's going to be Mooker again dropping the ball. He had one hand held, and Hussey takes the ball, gets the handball off. That's Chris Risley, is it? With the long sleeve, goes long, looking for Cleaver. Fiddlers has found the front, but it's over the back. Cleaver off the ground, can't make it to the distance. Hill End player comes through, kicks it off the ground and through for a point. So pretty quick transition up the other end of the ground, and we'll have Boolarra now move on to 1-1-7 to Hill End's 2-1-13. Hill End now through Fawcett. Fawcett goes in short, finds a man. Nice little mark there, and I think that's his brother, isn't it? No, Ladson. Ladson for Hill End, still in the defensive 50, called to play on now. Goes out wide, comes in, no one can take that mark. It's a handball out there, and it's in Belfer's hand. Belfer's kicks up the wing, but straight to Boolarra's Luke Miller. Luke Miller with the mark. Going to come back into the forward 50, is he? He's going to go long, yep, straight down the line, looking for Shears. No. Justin Ray stops, takes the mark just outside the 50-metre arc there.
And that's not how you kick the ball to Aidan Shears. He's not going to take a mark. He's not 6'5".
Little short one to Pratt, not far enough. Then goes long. Oh, nice mark to Uliando, is it?
Wasn't bad, yeah, Uliando wasn't bad.
Back into the middle of the ground. Finds a teammate there in Tamino. Tamino was put under pressure. Now Hill End through Cochrane, gets the ball moving forward. Cleaver picks it up pretty cleverly, looking for someone, goes back out to Cochrane. Cochrane now goes, kicks the ball in the forward 50, but there's no one over the back, and it's going to trickle over the line 15 metres around from Boolarra's goal. A little bit of indecision there by Hill End, and coughed the ball up. Cleaver, some good work across there. Duck back. He doesn't look confident going towards goal though at the moment.
So the ball thrown back into play, and it's big Kyle Hearn winning the ball down, but it only goes as far as Fawcett there, who kicks the ball up towards the half back line. 2-on-1, Boolarra advantage through the numbers, and they've managed to give away the free kick. So it'll be Mulqueen to take the free kick on the half back line. It looks like Saunders and Mulqueen swapping between playing deep and then playing further up the ground, just to give him a bit of variety in that forward line. And he goes short, looks for and finds a teammate in the orange boots there, and that'll be our man Ladson, who's come across from the left-hand wing to the other side of the ground. He's a beautiful pass into the middle of the ground. One kick, one handball, and away they go into the forward 50. One-on-one's ahead of the ball. Mizzou overruns it, can't get a boot to it. Reece ducks back, the big ruckman resting in the forward line down there to go and give a hand out, but the umpire says, "Give it to me, boys. Let's just throw this one in the air in the Hill End forward pocket." Plenty of end-to-end action here, the ball moving rapidly up and down the ground. So at the far end of the ground, Big Reese taps the ball down to himself. Picked up down there by Kerrigan. Kerrigan snaps around the corner towards goal and goes skinny side and through for a behind. And if it's not Kerrigan, it's going to be Saunders, and it's going to be one of them with the long sleeves, Evo.
Yeah, Chase Saunders then had the snap, wasn't Kerrigan. But
so Mizzou now plays on from full back and kicks up to half back where he finds Cochrane. So Cochrane on the half back line here has a short option ahead of him. Takes that short option and Joel Mason takes the mark. So if you've seen Boolarra this year, you'll know they actually do this a little bit. Hold the ball through the middle of the ground. They do so again now. So they play on again through the middle. Look to bring
100%.
Yeah, look to bring their forwards into play, but you can't afford to turn the ball over there, and that's exactly what they've done. And the umpire says, give it to me, and we're going to throw this one in the air right in the centre circle.
If you're going to switch that kick in from the wing there, it has to be 100% on, because if Hill ain't there, like, you've got to grab that then, Hill and we're away.
So ball goes up in the air. No one in the ruck department's got anywhere near it. Ball hits the deck. Now it's Hill end advantage through the numbers, and the umpire's plucked a free kick though that'll go to Boolarra for a hold. So Boolarra with the ball in the middle of the ground. Are we going to go laterally and go short, or are we going to go down and give our forwards a one-on-one opportunity? Let's go forward to Aidan Shears and kick it over his head again. So not great delivery for Shears, and Fawcett's able to pick it up. He pops a handball into space out there. Picked up on the run on the wing there by Tyler Pratt. He kicks up towards the half-forward line. 2-on-2 contest. Ball hits the deck. Boolarra got the numbers back here now. Mason picks a handball up. He flicks it across to Fella. Fella then goes one handball too many when it probably should have been a kick, and the pressure comes on from Hill end. Now Boolarra have got it and just go boot. Let's get it out of the danger area and kick it up towards Cochrane. Getting in the way down there is Uliando though, and he flicks a handball backwards to a teammate. Teammate's able to get around a couple of opponents there in Bailey Paul and kicks to half forward. Mark taken there on the half forward line, and that's taken down there by Aaron Fawcett. So he goes top side of the ground with about a 7-metre kick to no one in particular, but it's picked up on the burst, and picked up on the burst by Tamino as a flying shot at goal. Misses the hole 21, and that's nearly hit your car, Paves. It's nearly gone into the paddock on the far side of the ground.
Oh, look, I'm stuck. Devastating news, Sam Walsh out for Carlton. So Collingwood may get the advantage, but it doesn't help me Supercoach team.
Yeah, way to make me cry on radio, Paves. So Boolarra now kick the ball up towards centre wing. The big boys fly for it. Paul hits the deck. Joel Mason fighting a one-man band down there for Boolarra, and he's besieged by Hill end opponents, and we'll have a ball up right on the point of the forward square, far side of the ground, Hill end forward line. So we're about 18 minutes in, 2-2-14, 1-1-7 Boolarra. So Hill end with 7-point lead. The ruckmen go at it. No one able to get it clear into space. Ball hits the deck. Which way will she go now? Probably nowhere's the answer, and the umpire says, throw it back to me. No, play on we are. So the ball gets kicked forward for Boolarra. Hussey then runs onto it and runs over it. Big kick off the ground there by Shears, 4 Shears into space. Splitting the difference down there. Beautiful defence down there by Justin Ray, who sat in between 2 opponents, won the footy, cleared it, found the boundary line. A1 result for Hill end Evo.
Yeah, it is. And just one thing with Boolarra is Kyle Hearn. He's present, but they're not using him. So I'm not sure he's going to the right spots on Kyle. He says he's a backman, Scotty, so I think they might need to utilise him back down back and reassess their forward line.
Toss back into play, and it's Big Reese that gets a fist on the footy and whacks it in his general direction. No one able to pick it up cleanly initially. In there fighting for it was Saunders, Mulqueen even. Mulqueen gets a handball in the middle of the ground. That's Ladson again. Ladson up to half forward. Big long lead there by Payne. He can't hold on to the mark, but he can take the free kick. The umpire says advantage, and advantage it is. Picked into the forward line there by Aaron Fawcett. A 1-on-2 down there favouring Boolarra, and again the 1-on-2 has the 2-on-1 is lost. The 1 is 1, and Saunders will go back and have a shot on goal from about 25 metres out on a 45-degree angle.
And if history repeats, he's 20 metres closer, same angle. Should not worry him chasing. I did say if he's up and about early, he's going to cause some damage, and some damage he's doing.
Yeah, look, but the amount of ball that Hill end's had to only be 1 goal up at this stage, it's probably a little fluttering on Boolarra at the moment.
So Saunders comes in, looking for goal number 2. Very purposeful approach. Kick goes on its way. A little bit of right to left, a little bit of left to right. The goal umpire says you should have just gone straight. That's 1 behind.
Yeah, the Boolarra let off there, so they're really probably scoreboard. As you see, Hill end 2 goals, 3-15. Lead Boolarra, 20-minute mark in the first quarter, 1-1-7.
Yeah, but the ball's gone all the way over the back once again, so they're relying on someone to go out and get it.
League executive should be throwing that through there, man, in the gate. So go to Matthews, get amongst it. You listen to our radio coverage.
There we go, Boolarra comes flying out of the back line, goes long, looking for Mizzou. Mizzou can't take the ball, but it's Skinner knocks the ball, but it's to Boolarra's advantage, is it? Can they pick it up? No. Uliundo gets the handball out towards Skinner, but Skinner's worried out of the ball. Hussey, quick hands to Mizzou. Mizzou goes long, looking for Cleaver. Cleaver on the long lead. He's a long way out for him. He hasn't been game enough to take him there at 30 metres. He's not going to take the mark anyway. And the ball, that's about the 50-metre mark, will go out of bounds.
A little lack of communication there. I think Cleaver could have held up and called Shears in for that one, but nonetheless.
Ball comes down. Reese wins it. Quick handball over the top there, and that's to Ladson. Ladson goes in the middle, but it's all Boolarra. Player comes in, picks the ball up, little pass out wide, looking for and finding Toomey. Toomey with the ball outside the forward 50. Looks for Cleaver. Cleaver sets himself, can't take the mark. Ball comes to ground. Belford knocks it off the ground. And that one is Ray. Ray, no one can take it cleanly, and it's going to be Stacks on the mill. No, Fiddlers comes up with it, busts through the pack, tackled, dropping the ball. Boolarra decide to play on. Oh, the umpire, how can you not? The Boolarra player took the decision. Luckily for them, the umpire said come back because the shot on goal was terrible.
That was Joel Mason, that terrible shot on goal. Terrible by you, Joel.
Aidan Shears will take a shot. He's going to have the wind at his back here. He's going to be 45 metres out on a 45-degree angle.
So Rob Fiddler, as he is his car, he's going to do the fashion change. He must have caught one in the forest. He's got a bandage forehead at the minute.
I think he's going to play in the second row in the second half, maybe.
Looks like Rambo from yesterday. He had the headband on.
So Shears from 48 sends the ball on its way right to the teeth of the goals. Skinny side through for only a minor score.
And not good there from Shears. Should have been able to get onto that ball with the breeze behind him. Should have been able to put that one through. So on the Rennie property sales scoreboard, we have Boolarra 1-2-8, trailing Hill End 2-3-15.
So Aaron Fawcett will bring the ball back into play for Hill End. He steals his 10 yards and then kicks it as long as he can out towards Ladson. Ladson goes for a little nudge in the back, but he didn't quite nudge hard enough. Ball ends up with Shears, who overruns it. Number 5 there, that's Mulqueen, a long way from home. He rips in, and the umpire says, give it to me, let's toss it up. I didn't think there was... I thought that was pretty rapid fire on the whistle.
We're going to change with big Calvin Reeves, and Mulqueen must be working through the ruck together, I think.
So Hearn wins the tap, doesn't get it towards anyone in particular, and it's going to be Stacks on the middle here again. Josh Hussey gets mounted, and the umpire says, give it to me, we're going to toss this one up in the air.
So we're inside Boolarra's forward 50 here. Good chance for him to score.
Cleaver one out in the square so they can get the ball in quickly. They're a show. Harrison George winning the tap down. Ball comes backwards here towards Hussey. Hussey gets a handball to Mason. Put your glasses down. Oh, Jolie boy won't miss that. Jolie boy, what have you done?
He knew as soon as it came off the boot, he didn't kick through it. He just stabbed at it, off the side of the boot.
He didn't use his right foot, mate. Can't kick on his left.
All in saying that, just behind is Boolarra, and that's on the Rennie property scoreboard. It's Boolarra 1-3-9, trail Hill End 2-3-15. 1 goal, a difference.
So Aaron Fawcett will bring the ball back in. Goes for a little bounce. He's got no one leading at him. He's in a little bit of trouble getting stalked there by Boolarra players. Just kicks the ball up in hope there in the end. And it's Mizzou that gets in the road. Quick kick off by Boolarra into the forward line. And Fawcett's going to try and butter up and fix up what he mucked up there. And it's through Travis Dyke. The kick comes out. Saunders, Mulqueen, on the Muggsy Mooka. Muggsy Mooka goes long, just clears the ball. He's gone right down in their forward line. And it's going to be the Boolarra player that leads out from the full back line, but he'll see it over the line. And we're down there at the 50-metre arc for Hill End now.
So that was Nick Miller running off his opponent there to create a contest, and the boundary line one out. And here's my lad, the 4-year-old, heaves it back into play. Beautiful work, young fella. So unable to get a clearance there straight away, but the ball comes back through the hands of Hill End. Hill End now go boundary side. Let's say that's Ladson because it might as well be. He kicks the ball to the dangerous area, and a big fist, the golden fist. That's gone into the cow paddock over the road.
That's it in the back of your tray, Paves.
There might have been a little push in the back there, though.
You say the 4-year-old out here running the old boundary. If my young bloke 5-year-old was out here and he'd be earning $70 doing that on a Sunday, I'd much rather that because it cost me $70 every Sunday to feed the little bug.
Well, the young fella is earning his keep. Whatever he's getting paid, he's doing a terrific job of tossing it in. And there's another prime example as Payne wins the tap.
And Paves opens the snakes. Here we go.
And the central umpire says, young fella, come in another couple of yards and try that one again. You're throwing it into the breeze. This is tough work. And there we go. That's A grade. That is beautiful work. Payne wins a tap down. Shark there by Boolarra, though. They win through numbers, through hands initially, and then the long kick up towards the wing.
Yeah.
2-on-1 up there. It's Skinner out the back, but he's unable to take the ball cleanly, and he runs over the boundary line right in front of the NR Hotel sign. 25 and a half minutes gone. Boolarra 1-3-9. Hill End 2-3-15. Hill End dominating play, but not dominating on the scoreboard. So ball tossed back into play again. No one able to win it through the ruck yet again. Now it's picked up beautifully in there by Uliando. They go through the hands again, and then a really rushed kick unnecessarily up towards the half-forward line. As the siren sounds to end the first quarter, which sees Boolarra 1-3-9, Hill End 2-3-15, 25 and a half minutes gone. First quarter.
There we go, and just an updated score there in North Kippy. We've got Yarra 1-5 to Woodside's 1 goal 9 minutes into that game. So here, very fascinating game. Hill End probably had the majority of the play, just couldn't put the score on the board. Had some really good shots, a couple of really good goals there by them, so they might be lucky to be the 7 points in front that they are.
And of course, the match of the day, the Player of the Day award goes to the one that we nominate as best on ground, and that's courtesy of our great mate Pete Rennie at Rennie Property Sales in the Q-Bar. A couple of your better players from each side, if you could, boys.
Yeah, I've got for Hill End, obviously Chase Saunders really presenting well up forward, and Fawcett, I think it was Aaron Fawcett, 31 for Hill End, Dane Fawcett doing it up forward and doing it up back, doing it right around the ground. So they're the two standouts for me. And probably Andrew Aliano, can't really say it. I'll get his name
Umbo Uliando.
That's the one. He's just causing a bit of grunt through the midfield and really causing Boolarra a bit of hassle in there.
Yeah, it's hard for when you look at Boolarra's side. Brendan Mason's probably got his hands on the ball a couple of times. Ricky Cochrane's come steaming through. Michael Cleaver's done a lot of leading and got his hands on the ball. Just hasn't been able to put any scoreboard pressure on though. So Chris Risley a couple of times off that back line. So without anyone standing up and being outstanding there in the Boolarra, they're all sort of contributing without dominating any part of the game.
And I'll throw an honourable mention into Sam Mizzou. He was resolute across the half-back line, took a couple of marks and got Boolarra into attack a few times. So at the end of the first quarter, up here at beautiful Thorpdale, weather's fantastic. You wouldn't be anywhere else unless you're at the NR Hotel with Trev Hornibrook. You'd be here. Boolarra 1-3-9, Hill End 2-3-15. End of a fascinating first quarter. We'll take a few sponsors' messages. We bring you all the second quarter action in about 3 minutes' time. goes down to Hearn. Hearn throws a handball out in hope. Ball hits the deck. Looks like Joel Mason over there. No, can't be Joel because he's gone to his right hand side. So the ball must have gone over the boundary line for a throw in. So the umpire will toss this one into the best part of 175 metres away from us. And Ruckman Hearn wins it down. Handball though through the hands of Hillender. They look to control the footy down there. Umpire must have called play on it, hadn't gone 15 because that was a clear mark, except for the fact that it hadn't gone the requisite distance. So now the ball comes out up here towards centre wing. Beautiful intercept mark taken down there.
Nicely read by Jones.
Yeah, I was going to say by Jones, and he wins a 50.
This puts you within scoring distance, doesn't it?
Here's a Ruckman. Let's not get too carried away.
Because the bad error on Williams' part, they got that ball short instead of going long. Jones's man actually took off and wanted the ball over the bar.
That's a decent slice of 50 because he's only going to have to kick this 35 metres. So big Kieran Jones comes in, looks to set the things alight for the second quarter for Boolarra. Kick on its way, sideways, Kernahan punt. But it's gone through the middle and that's all that matters, and the D's are on the board in the second.
That might be little inspections.
You know, it's a mongrel punting the game, possibly. There's another contender for Trent and Palmer. Yeah, there we go. I went there Friday night, I say it again, I want to feel it was. But on the British Property scoreboard, scores are levelled 2 goals, 3 apiece, 15. Here at Thorpdale Reserve on sunny Sunday afternoon, boys.
Another goal plus, and the scores will be level. Joey Rollins, there you go, back in the middle now.
So we can get a Ruckman to get a clear tap here. Come on, boys.
He's up against Jones. Jones wins the ball there, goes forward, but the lead player straight without the footy. He's going to get the free kick. It's also going to do it. A little bit Mason, a little bit panicky there. Gregory. He goes forward with his brother and it's not down from his hands. Upper's got a free kick, but Hillen's kicked the ball through for the point. What's the umpire going to bring it back? He's bringing it back. He's giving the player the benefit of the doubt of never going through. For Pseudo. For Pseudo, she'll get back tomorrow. Yeah, here we go.
It's taken a long way to get back to you.
So we've got Daneforce. He's outside 50 when he kicks it, so he'll be looking for a pass. He's a kicker.
Payne.
How do you get that much room? But it's more over the top of his head, and it's going to be Sam Mizzou. Picks the ball up. An up and under kick, and it's going to be there towards Hussey. Hussey, the ball's knocked away from him, but it bounces back into his hands, and he's tackled, and the ball will be balled up there on the wing. Far wing for wing. So the umpire throws the ball in the block and set themselves. Jones comes crashing through the team, but it's going to be Bill Egg. Gain possession of it, they kick it forward. Looking forward. Once he moving with the mark, spins around, takes his time out, breaks for the lead. He's got one there, and that's from one point. Can't take the mark, it's going to be Boolarra clearing the ball. That's from Harriet. Harriet with the hand going to the top. Free kick given away. And it's going to be Chris Risley. Chris Risley with the free for Boolarra. Going to be able to relieve the pressure. Goes out wide. Looking for the big fellas out there. And Hearn takes the mark.
Grabs the ball. That's what he's saying. That's what he needs to do. He's the climb up forward. So Kyle puts the ball forward. Boolarra, and that's just been scored. Over there, out from there, just throwing 6 metres out from
Again, they kick the ball high, over Aiden Shear's head. That's not his go. You want to kick it through the window or kick it along the ground. Sitting on top of the young bloke's head when he's 5'10", not going to help him. Anyway, speaking of 3'10", the boundary umpires toss the ball back into play beautifully yet again. Hillen will win the clearance here through numbers. No, the boundary line will win, and we'll get to see the young fella go back to work here. And a master of his art he is, the young bloke. He'll come in his full half cricket pitch or 3/4 cricket pitch and then toss it into a beautiful arc where the ruckman won't have to move an inch. Ball will land right on their bonces. Beautiful work, young fella. And Big Reese says, thanks very much. Sharks it out of the ruck and kicks towards Skinner. But Skinner's too close to the boundary line and he watches it go over with Chris Risley keeping him company.
in front of Normie's stump right on the side here at Thorpdale Reserve.
update the netball, East 30, Fishy 23, so East still holding a margin there. Ball thrown back into play. It's almost like they left that on purpose in the ruckman, and Mason picked it up and popped it to Marriott, but Marriott's turned it over in the middle of the ground. Ladson in there for Hill End, grabs it on all fours, pops a handball out backwards. The handball there finds a teammate who's wrapped up in a tackle straight away though, and it's a hot footy as Marriott wins for Boolarra and kicks forward. Cleaver leads in the chase, Kerrigan beats him to it. Gets a handball out to the old second row with the headband on. Aiden Shears does well to break that play up, and Cleaver jumps back in again, and the umpire says you can't hit him around the head, and he'll take the free kick far too far out to have a shot, given what we've seen earlier today. Although it's actually Cochrane, so he might have a shot. And he does, runs around the man on the mark, or half runs around the man on the mark.
Dropping the ball.
I like the fact he had a crack though, good on him for giving it a whirl. But nice to see him get up though, because he has got a hamstring injury, he's a little slow to his feet. So,
Free kick to go in the end, now it's going to take on the wing outside, hanging on the bottom of the jumper there. They're from Boolarra, so Saunders on the coach box side at Thorpdale, thumps it long to Hill End's half forward line, and Payne flies but no good. So the ball falls out the back. Force it, tackle without it. He's been awarded a free kick, tight in the forward pocket, right in front of us here, 20 metres below us.
A little bit of nerves there from Nick Miller. He tackled him before the ball was even there.
And it's good to see that just the long delivery from Saunders there really opened it up, and the ball came out of the back there, and Forsyth made the most of it and was lucky enough to be a recipient of a good free kick.
he made the most of it. There's less mayonnaise on a McChicken than he put on that. It's absolutely brilliantly done from the young fella though. He's got the shot on goal, and that's what it's all about. He'll come in, have a kick from about 30 metres out, tied up against the boundary line, ball on its way, goal umpire, shuffles, but not that far, but it hasn't gone through the big sticks, and that's an absolute cracking finish, and a genuine contender to go and see Trev on Tuesday night for a Palmer at the Yard Hotel, courtesy of Trev and Jack Oddie from Jim's Building Inspection.
Already dropping scoreboard, that puts Hill End 1 goal in front, 3-3-21. Lead Boolarra 2-3-15, as Josh Clare would say. 1 goal is 6 points, Josh, because you're very clever. Anyway, back here at Thorpdale, this ball's going back to the middle, and we'll have it says the Ruckman can get another hand on it.
Yeah, neither Ruckman dominating, both of them keys in their side. That scoreboard been updated, do you reckon?
No, can't find the mouse.
Can't find the mouse. Not to worry. Yeah, neither Ruckman seemingly been able to get the ball clear in these stoppages. It's always been ball on deck, secondary stoppage, and just to prove me wrong, Hill End Whittley out through Kerrigan. So Kerrigan now kicks up towards Payne in the dangerous spot. Mulqueen back there as well. Ball eludes the two of them. Boolarra through numbers. Mizzou goes back to Marriott. Marriott's got Mason on. Marriott finds Mason, and Mason steadies the ship on the defensive 50 for Boolarra. He chips the ball inboard to his brother. It's like they're in the backyard at home.
Thank you.
Although to be fair, I'm not sure these two brothers ever played that nice. So Brendan now goes long down the line. Looks to be Kyle Hearn. He engages early. It was Kieran Jones. Engaged early, created some space but couldn't complete the mark. And the ball trickles over the boundary line right in the middle of the ground, top side here at Thorpdale. And after 9 minutes in the second quarter, Hill End lead 3-3-21 to Boolarra 2-3-15.
Yeah, very tight game. It looks like it could open up pretty quickly though if one side can just go into their forward line with some purpose.
And Hussey's going to do exactly that for Boolarra as he kicks the ball up towards half forward, goes over the top of the header. Hearn though, and the ball comes back with a bit of GST. Strong defensive mark, not quite complete. Yep, the umpire's going to pay that eventually. And that'll be to Chris Risley of Boolarra. Defensive side of wing, top end of the ground. Let's look for Boolarra to hold onto the footy here for a little while with a couple of short passes. That's a little 7-iron down the line there, and they're going to turn it over straight away. No, they're not. Big Kyle Hearn's going to get in there and pick it up.
It's a long way down for Kyle.
Yeah, he manages to turn it over though. Kerrigan then goes back through the hands, and it's pretty messy stuff to be honest. So let's just ball it up, separate this, and see if one of the ruckmen can get it clear.
It's a pretty scrappy game. There's sides winning possession through the stoppages. They're just turning it over. There's no hitting clean targets up the ground.
So Jones gets a fist on the ball, but he can't get it clear as Uliando cracks in, and Marriott cracks in over the top of him, and the umpire's going to have no choice but to ball it up again. And whether it's under 12s or senior mid Gippsland football, just pay a free kick and clear this carnage. Radio tosses it in the air, half-back flank, ball goes up, the ruckman engaged, Reese taps it towards the middle of the ground, no one able to take it clear again initially, ball finally spills out the back. Kerrigan had his jumper tugged and the umpire says play on, so play on they do. Charlton stripped of it, ball picked up and kicked towards the half-forward line here. Harrison George, the Beetle, the fifth Beetle, takes the mark on the half-forward flank. Payne one-on-one in the square, just kick it on the big fella's head. He goes in that direction now, but it's a 2-on-2 down there, but Payne good enough to get the Dukes out and swallow the footy.
That was a great kick there, and good work with Saunders just holding out the body of the Boolarra fellas to give Ash Payne a free run at the footy then.
I'll negate that, Evan. I would say Saunders should have run the other way and left Payne one-on-one, but nonetheless, Payne, he's got the ball and he's got the shot on goal, so let's see how he goes. We're on the beautiful angle here. If I tilt my head slightly sideways, I can see between the goalposts. Payne goes top of the square, a little bit of hook back. Big boys fly, no one able to take their hands on the footy. Brendan Mason rips in at full tilt, wins the ball on all fours, pops out a handball to no one in particular, cracks back in for a second and third go, tries to pull it out the back door, and the umpire says, not a chance boys, give it to me. We're 30 metres out in front of the Hill End goal. They lead by exactly 6 points at the moment. 12 minutes gone on the Ready Property Sales scoreboard.
That was surprising, Ash Payne not having a shot on goal there, trying to put it into the goal square.
So we've finally seen a ruckman find her over, and it's Jones down to Mason, and Mason kicks the ball out to the half-back line there. Beautiful secondary play, picks it up, Marriott off the ground, can't quite get it. Fawcett cracks in. Handballs backwards to Kerrigan. Kerrigan goes with a beautifully weighted pass and finds Mole Queen 40 metres out on a 45-degree angle.
And he'll at least take a shot, which he should be doing.
It's a beautiful kick of the footy, Luke Mole Queen, so this he should, blading down, should put this through the big sticks and give Hillland a little bit more breathing space.
With that breeze, he should be just heading for that left-hand side goal post.
A little bit of right and left here. It's going to be on the way post.
You're going to bowl the reverse swinger.
Here we go. Kicks on its way, he's put it out there and allowing the breeze to bring it back. Has it brought it back enough? It certainly has. Exactly as we called it. Straight through the middle. And that's in line for your Jim's Building Inspection, hotel goal of the day. And he'll then move on to 4-3-27 to Boolarra 2-3-15 on the Ready Property scoreboard.
And good to see you as subtle as ever on your return to the commentary box, Paves.
As we move the ball back into the middle, the umpire gets set to ball it up. What we need though is some clean possession.
So Saunders and Payne and Mole Queen, the three deepest forwards here for Hill End, which is quite a surprise because it was functioning well with just two of them. Let's see how it goes with all three of them. Jones gets a tap down but can't find Cochrane. Ball comes out now through Uliando, kicks the ball towards Mole Queen. Ball bounces over his head. Muggsy Mooker on the burst. Look out boys, don't get in Muggsy's way. But Boolarra able to pick the ball up and kick out defensive side there. Fella it is. He gets the ball forward. Hussey now goes back to Mason. Mason a little half sideways kick to Shears. Like I said, don't kick it on top of his head, kick it at his feet and he's half a chance. And then it's turned over in the middle of the ground through Mooker. So Mooker now does a full 360 for no apparent reason, then sets it up nice and high. Mole Queen flies, plays the spoiler this time and brings it to ground. Ball on the deck. Who wants it the most? Comes back to Mooker again. He's got Payne, he's got Mole Queen. He kicks it halfway in between and Jones does well to defend for Boolarra. Ball now comes back to Mooker. He goes a little underground handball. Top of the square. Dangerous spot here. Miller flies. No one able to bring the mark down. Ball on the deck. Taken high. Surely umpire. Play on, he says. And now they'll release, finally, and Boolarra through Rescue will get the ball outside the defensive 50. Josh Hussey sits over the top of it. Pops a handball backwards there. Looking forward, finding a teammate. That teammate was Chris Risley, but unfortunately Risley was over the boundary line.
He's been good this quarter, Risley. He's cut off a few forward attacks from Hilling.
And Saunders doing his thing down here in front of the crowd. Mark Jackson like at the moment, just trying to bait a few hooks and see if he can't win a free kick. Ball tossed back into play and it'll spill out the back of the pack to Cochrane. Cochrane puts the Jets on, pops a handball out there to a teammate. Kick goes forward, kicks turned over at half back though, and Hill End will reset across the half back line and look to steady things down here.
That's Kerrigan over on his orchards.
He just dropped a little slide poke in the eye or something away past, but he's up, which is good.
He's up and he's about to win the footy. He's got one-on-ones ahead of him with the two key forwards. You back the forwards to beat the backs every day of the week. The kick goes over the back. Saunders does well to keep it in initially, but gravity takes care of the rest of it and the ball goes over the line for a boundary throw-in. So we'll toss this in.
Two forwards leading and you somehow can't go near either of them.
So we'll toss this one in 15 metres around from the Hill End goal.
From both sides going in their forward line. as the umpire sends it long, goes over the back. No one can take it cleanly. That's Cochrane with a quick kick off the ground. He'll then pick it up though there on the forward 50. There again. That is in line for your Jim's building inspection. You know, hotel goal of the day.
Look at him celebrating. He's taken off.
And he's off. He's going to the bench. He's going to go to Ray. There he goes. Kerry did real well then. Picked the ball up out of the back of the contest and just took it upon himself just to kick the goal there, and that's it. Puts a bit more of a breathing space for Hill End on the Ready Property scoreboard. It's 2-3-15 lead. Trail Hill End, sorry. 5-3-33. So it's an 18-point buffer to Hill End.
3 in a row to Hill End. Fawcett, Mulqueen and then Kerrigan, and that's the difference on the Rennie Property Sales scoreboard as we speak. 16 minutes gone, second quarter here at Thorpdale. Back in the middle we go, and Jones with the size dominance still can't get a permanent clearance here for Boolarra, and we'll have a secondary stoppage. And I'll tell you what, if you're Kieran Jones and you're up against the bloke you're rucking against at the moment, you've got to find Brendan Mason or Ricky Cochrane cleanly.
Woodside 3-3, Yarram 1-6.
And Mason wins the footy, gets driven into the ground, and the umpire strolls in and says, just jump off his back if you could and throw me the footy because I'm going to toss it in the air. That's how you do subtlety pace. So ball in the air now, and Jones just shoves his opponent out of the way and tries to sink the slipper into it. Picks it up off the ground, flicks a handball over the top in the direction of Shears. He hasn't ripped off him, and we'll pile in again, and we'll have yet another boundary, another ball up in the middle of the ground. Righto, Kieran, just sink the fist into this one and whack it our way, son. That's what the Boolarra boys will be saying. And he manages to clear some space and not get a hand on the footy, and Hill End win the stoppage. Good mark back there in defence there by Reski. And he goes far side of the ground, looking for and finding. Is that Aidan Shears diving in there? It is. Funny what happens when you kick it out in front of him, isn't it?
First one he's marked.
And he kicks the ball in exactly how he doesn't like it kicked in, straight over the top of his head. And that'll be advantage Hill into the half-back line. And I can just see Kieran Jones here trotting off to the bench. So it'll be Kyle Hearn to take the ruck work in the meantime.
And Harrison George giving away a good foot, close to a foot on the big ruckman. He's still making a good contest of it.
So no ruckman able to get their hands on the footy down there in the forward pocket for Boolarra. Ball trickles out the back, picked up there. Beautiful little handball over the top by Oleando into some space, and Hill End can be out here. Beautifully weighted kick there. Kerrigan unable to complete the mark. Ball picked up in the middle of the ground there by Boolarra. Now they go through the hands. Finally they get the quick kick in, but they've kicked it in straight down the throat of the Hill End defence, and it'll rebound out as quickly as it goes in. Yeah, it mustn't have travelled the requisite distance.
All touched.
And if this ball bounces the wrong way, good work there in defence. And that'll be Cochrane there playing on across the half-back line, but he's managed to lace out Chase Saunders. So Saunders plays on straight away here. Payne on a long leg. Mizzou back to fill the gap. Mizzou versus Payne. Payne takes on the two of them. Boundary lines wins the argument though, and we'll have a ball up directly in front of us, right in front of the tuck shop, Evo. How are the hot dogs today, mate?
Yeah, they're a little bit better than yesterday. Yesterday's hot dog was a bit flavourless today. Not too bad. Bread roll was nice and fresh, and a bit of sauce to that well.
Speaking of sauce, Saunders was trying to put some sauce on that little nudge there by Corbett.
So ball back into play. Speaking of sauce, it's Cochrane. So Cochrane runs onto the footy there, well assisted by a good shepherd, but the ball bounces and eludes him over the boundary line, and we'll have a ball in 55 metres around from the Hill End goal. They, of course, lead by 3 goals, 5-3-33 to 2-3-15. Nearly 20 minutes gone on the Rennie Property Sales scoreboard.
No noted ruckman here. Muggsy Mooker goes up for Hill End, but it goes over the back. No one will take it cleanly. Once again, it's stacks on the mill. Knock out of there. Muggsy Mooker picks it up, tries to spin out, but he's heavily tackled, and we'll have a ball up just on the 50-metre arc there for Hill End.
Muggsy was the only one there out of about 6 or 7 blokes who wanted to pick the ball up, so only Muggsy, he took back to it.
Here we go, umpire steps in, and here we got coming up there, Miller against Muggsy. Muggsy knocks him out of the road, can't take the ball cleanly. It's a force there, he gets a quick kick on that, then and it's his brother, picks the ball up, spins around, kicks it, but it's Kyle Hearn who takes the mark, now sends the ball long. Kicks it towards Skinner, Skinner drops the mark.
And ball goes forward here as the phone rings. Might be Essendon looking for a new coach page, given that Ben Rutten's been given the flick. Skinner now with the ball across the half-back line. He finds a little pass there to a teammate on the half-back flank. And Hill End will take possession of the footy. They come forward here. Mark taken by Oleando in the middle of the ground. He pops a handball out there to the runner. The runner's got Payne on the lead. Payne out in front, gets a dukes up. Ball comes to the ground and it's advantage Boolarra. but the boundary line will win the contest, and it goes over the boundary line, out of bounds for a throw-in.
So allowing us to connect.
That's another goal.
Saying audio stream requested, not available.
Yeah, it's got to keep plugging away.
We got no. I think you need to keep talking for those, or they won't pick it up.
Oh, yeah.
Just
There's a
keep
little
talking.
4 foot nothing, boundary umpire throws the ball in, good one, ruck and go at it. Reeves takes it out for himself, thumps it wrong into the front of Hill End's goal square, Chase furthest flies at the ball, Boolarra. Let's grab it up, bob it up. And it's Chase Saunders just drags it in, says the umpire says give it to me, and we'll have the ball up as umpire Smith steps in to get another ball up.
Text your name.
So we're about 20 metres out here, directly in front of the Hill End goal. Muggsy Mooker creates some space, tries to shark it out of the ruck, but he can't get the ball clear, and we'll have yet another stoppage. So the ball gets thrown in the air 20 metres out from the Hill End goal. Mooker, take 2. This time he does get it clean out of the ruck. Pops a handball into space there. Teammates picked up, gets slung around, does a full 360, but pops a handball backwards. Ball comes back in towards Saunders. Cochrane gets a fist in for Boolarra there, and the ball gets spilled out in front of Fawcett. Fawcett goes in there to pick it up, but it's Miller for Boolarra who runs the ball over the boundary line and out of bounds. And we'll throw it in 40 metres around from the Hill End goal. 22 minutes gone here in the second quarter, and Hill End advantaged by 3 goals.
And then I think Boolarra have just made the choice just to get Kyle Hearn down back and move along, so just to try and stem the flow from Hill End, but that ball goes boundary trailing right over the top of 2 ruckmen, straight in the path of Boolarra. Bloke who's just tackled with a big tackle from Muggsy, and it's going to be a ball up from umpire Smith.
So 45 metres out, 45-degree angle, Hill End goal here, right in front of a big crowd that are gathered to watch this elimination final. Ball hits the deck, Mooker cracks in, and also cracking in for Boolarra was risky, but the umpire says, give it to me, let's try this for a 4th time, and let's see if someone can't get the ball clear. So Mooker then spikes the ball towards the boundary line, no one able to take it cleanly. Big Ricky Cochrane comes bursting through, tries to dribble the ball around the corner, but he can't, and goes over the boundary line and out of bounds. So the umpire tosses it back into play. Ball goes over the back. Mooker has been dominant in this situation. Gets it out towards Saunders. Saunders towards Uliando. Uliando comes down to Fawcett. Fawcett back to Uliando, but he can't take it cleanly. Pressure galore here from the Boolarra defenders, and they need to hold up resolutely. They can't afford to cough up another one and put down 4 in a row. Reski cracks in. Has his head nearly taken off by Fawcett. The crowd peels for a free kick, and the umpire says play on. So play on they do, and big Reese the ruckman down there on the wing. He tries to win the ball, but Cochrane cracks in for Boolarra. Puts it out in front of Shears and Hudson, and neither of them are able to win it. Cleaver cracks in now for Boolarra, and the ball goes over the boundary line for a throw-in just between the coaches' boxes. Eventually.
Should we turn it off, Scott, and then back again? Restart it?
I've never had to, mate. Just keep trying to push the reconnect button. So Hill End win the tap down, but only as far as Hussey, who kicks it forward. Strong mark taken there in defence. Turn all the microphones off except mine, can you? And then they kick the ball back into the forward 50 here. Ball hits the deck.
You're right, Scott.
And the umpires pluck the free kick 100 metres off the ball. So we'll bring the ball all the way to the other end of the ground here, and Boolarra will have a free kick and have a chance to go into their forward 50. So it's Michael Cleaver with the ball about 75 metres out from the Boolarra goal. Kicks into the forward pocket. Big boys fly down at the far end there. Ball hits the deck. Mizzou goes around the corner, snaps. And the umpires now still blowing their whistles. And the emergency umpire out there as well, having a chat to Cleaver. The 2 central umpires have run back into the middle of the ground. And it looks like it's going to be a Hill End free kick in the middle of the ground. in what can only be described as one of the more confusing passages of play. But nonetheless, Hill End with the footy, and they take full advantage of it. Travis Dyke now on the half-forward flank for Hill End. He'll look to bring the ball into the forward 50. So Dyke now, as the breeze starts to pick up, he goes towards the top of the square surely. No, he kicks it off his shin, drops in short where Muggsy Mooker stands. He gets around 1, he gets around 2, but he can't get around 3. And he's caught holding the prune, and Boolarra will take the free kick, and that'll go to Nick Miller. So Miller will just chip the ball directly to a Hill End opponent who toes it out of mid-air, pops the ball back into space. Miller goes back in trying to fix up his mistake. Ball gets flicked out the back towards Joel Mason. He's dispossessed. Muggsy Mooker, very little science, very lot of force. Kicks the ball forward. Big Kyle Hearn down there, picks it up and trickles the ball over the boundary line for a throw-in right in next to the Hill End far side point post. So the young lass comes in, tosses the ball back into play exceptionally as she's done all day, and it's Payne who tries to get the ruck work done, but he can't get it clear, and it stacks on the mill. And we're 20 metres out from the Hill End goal. They lead 5-3, 33 to 2-3, 15. The best part of 25 minutes gone here in the second quarter. So Payne goes up again. This time he's able to get into a little bit of space, but they can't win the ball as the siren sounds to end the second quarter. And at half time, it's Hill End 5-3, 33, leading Boolarra 2-3, 15, over and out. Welcome back to Thorpdale. Apologies for the technical issues. The internet reception up here may not be as great as in other places by the looks of things. We've been on, we've been off, we've been back again, and we're back again for the time being.
I think it's all right. It's just the amount of people there that we've got around the place.
Yeah, and I guess probably best to update the scores because we're not sure exactly when you lost us. It's Boolarra 2-3-15. Hill End 5-3-33. Hill End with the last 3 goals of that second quarter, and that's the difference on the scoreboard at the moment. Those goals came courtesy of Saunders, Fawcett. That was the first quarter. Sorry, apologies. In the second quarter, the goals came through Fawcett, Mulqueen and Kerrigan at the 8, 12 and 16 minute mark, and they counteracted the 1 goal to Kieran Jones for Boolarra at the 2 minute mark, which started off that second quarter, and that sees the 3 goals difference there. Pays, we've got some scores from the North Gippy final. Fascinating game going on there between the 2 arch rivals, Woodside and Yarram.
Yeah, it's 5-3 to Woodside, leading Yarram, who are 2 goals 10.
Bad kicking is bad football.
Yeah, it's not very good. And we're seeing some of that out here. It's just the midfield passing from mine. There's no clean possession. Sides are going forward just at a rate of knots, getting the ball on the boot, kicking it forward, more in hope than what they are in purpose. So both sides need to come out and actually take control of the football. You know, give a couple of shepherds, allow the person the ball carrier with a little bit of time and start delivering the footy. We talked about Aidan Shears there. You mentioned it all game. I reckon he had 1 ball out in front of him where he could lead onto and take the chest mark, and that was, 65, 70 metres from goal.
Yeah, you got to deliver it in to each forward in their own right. So you've got Ash Payne in the goal square for Hill End. By all means, bomb it in, sit it on the big boy's head. You're going to try and hit Aidan Shears. There's no point kicking it 7 foot in the air because the defender's just going to get the fist of the ball every time and take it out of his reach. But
they're not even getting close to hitting their forwards. The ball's just banged onto the boot in a rush, even when they've had a little bit of time. I don't know what the implied pressure is out there, but everyone seems to be under the pump when they're kicking the ball. They can move the ball away. It's just been poor foot skills for mine.
Yeah, exactly right. With Hayden, you're right there with Hayden Shears. He's been getting his ball up a bit higher because he's getting it sat on. He does his best work within the 50, and he's getting it up around half full thanks to Boolarra. So that's something they've got to look at, lowering the eyes and hitting him and using him as a target. But yeah, with Ash Payne and Chase Saunders leading, they're leading to the same spot. They're just bombing on their heads. So they lower the eyes and honour the 20-metre lead and get clean entry into the forwards and should aim for a good second half of footy here.
I want to see one of these ruckmen take the game apart. Big Reese or Big Jones. They're the biggest blokes out there for their respective sides. Let's impose ourselves on the contest and try and actually get a tap down to a teammate.
But they're tapping it down with no clear person in mind. They're just bringing it to ground, and it's just stoppage after stoppage there in those bounces. And the on-ballers are having to crash through and run the ball. Cochrane there once before, Uliando's had to crash and work his way through. They're not putting it into the path of their direct teammates.
And I think if one of them can get on top out of the middle, I mean, it sounds silly, but every time you kick a goal, the ball ends up back there. So if we can own that section of the ground for 10 or 15 minutes and kick 3 or 4 goals, it's going to be the difference between winning and losing. And the difference between winning and losing today is season over or playing on the week of finals.
That sounds like a collective we then.
Well, no, just either side, whether it's Hill End, whether it's Magic Mike, or whether it's TG down there for Boolarra. But if you're the side that can dominate that section of the ground for 15 minutes, get 3 or 4 clean stoppages in, the pressure that's going to go onto the defensive unit of the opposition, they've not held up when the ball's been delivered correctly as it is. So if you can repeat that 3, 4, 5 times in a row out of the middle, you're going to blow this game apart.
Scoreboard, that's for sure. Boolarra probably lucky to be this close with the way they have been going, but like I said, Hill End left them in the game for the most part. There's 3 goals in that last quarter, the difference between it, but even though those weren't that clean.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see if there's any structural changes. I mean, if I'm coaching Boolarra, I know I'm 3 goals behind, so I've got to kick a score. But what I'm probably going to do is rely on the side that I've started with and actually try and play a bit cleaner footy and just say, you guys that are playing on the ball are our best on balls. We're going to back you in. let's start using the ball with a little bit of poise. And you said the key word before, if you can get a shepherd or two on and put a teammate into space,
that's it.
It's just it's the bare basics, finals footy, and keep it simple.
They've got to deliver the ball. Even there's been a few times where they've been out and clear and then just sat the ball up, put it over their teammate's head, and hasn't been clean at all. It's probably just the skill of Saunders and that down forward for Hill End that's had Fawcett there that's got them goals. He's ended up with 2 so far this game, hasn't he?
He has,
Fawcett,
yeah.
Small forward out of the 5 goals that they've kicked.
And he's actually kicked his goals by taking marks as well, so you can find a little target like that. Surely you can find a big forward leading at you.
Yeah. And just down at AFL, we've got Collingwood 1-4-10 leading Carlton 2 points.
You'll be pushed out this window, Paves. It's not the day for it.
No finals for you at this stage.
It's not the day for it. It's only early, mate. Come on, you know better than that.
No, you know I'm sad that Sam Walsh is out of your side. You know that's broken my heart. So I was in there barracking for you for a little while. But here we go.
We'll get things underway in the second half here, and Big Reese up against Jones. Someone win the tap and put it to a teammate. Bang, there we go. We've got a stoppage clearance, and it's going to go Boolarra's way, although Hussey's tackled just as he looked to get the foot to ball. Ball then goes through Fawcett forward towards Muggsy Booker, who was outstanding in that second quarter. Muggsy goes to ground, and it stacks on the middle on the forward flank. The umpires pluck the free kick out, and it'll go the way of Boolarra. So on the half-back flank now, Boolarra with the footy look to set up defence into attack. They go for Big Sam Mizzou. Ball's kicked above his head, ball's cleared away, and he'll end off to the races. No. Turnover, yep, they'll get the free kick here. Boolarra for being thrown onto the ground, and that'll go to Daniel Wilson. So Wilson now on the half-back flank or centre wing. He looks to come forward. Mizzou offers a target. Jones offers a target. And instead of that, he's going to kick to Brendan Mason. So
on his head, though.
Yeah.
Little player.
So big Reese, the ruckman cracks in there. Boolarra with numbers down there now. He's plucked. No, he said we're going to ball this one up.
You were going to. That was nearly in the back there.
I thought he was going to come in and pay high.
He rode it down.
So Reese and Jones go out of the game. Jones just taps the ball down, but Kerrigan for the Hill End gets in there, gets it out to Uliando, who pumps the ball up to the half-forward line. The ball spins on its end. Mulqueen picks it up beautifully and spins onto his left and kicks the ball in towards Payne. Nails it all, force it out there on the lead. Ball goes past him and Miller gets back there for Boolarra to pick it up. He's under all sorts of pressure though. Pops a handball into space, and that's really good play from Boolarra to bring that ball away. And Joel Mason takes a mark on the half-back flank.
Hit a target.
Exactly right. So Joel's got Hussey on a lead. Hussey still leads, and Joel uses him, and Huss takes a mark on the half-back flank. So Hussey now looks for a target further afield. A little sideways, clever kick out there towards Jones, who overruns it, and the ball will trickle over the boundary line right in front of the Yanar Hotel sign. And we'll have a ball in, where a minute or two in, no score, a third quarter.
Kicking it out to Jones, but aimed at his knees, and you're talking about a ruckman who's got to bend down to pick that up.
Yeah, you've got to put that one through the window. So the big ruckman go at it again. Reese gets a tap down beautifully down to a teammate. They've found a teammate and they've got a secondary possession through Ladson. Ladson up to the half-forward line here. Mark there to Hill End on the half-forward flank. Let's see where they lead now. They lead out there towards Saunders, who takes the grab. No, ball spoiled away from him. Good defensive effort, but Hill End went out through Muggsy Mooker. Muggsy reels and gets onto his left, kicks it beautifully into space. Which way is it going to bounce? It's going to bounce beautifully for Hill End, and they're out here. They are out here, and they'll have the first shot on goal.
Yeah, nice little kick there from Fawcett, just scrapping up the loose ball and just putting it into space, and I believe that to be Saunders. Takes an easy chest mark, 40 metres out, directly in front, gate at Thorpdale.
He didn't have to lace out a pass, didn't have to drill it over 60 metres, just chipped it to the advantage of the forward, and what do you know?
Just kicked it into space, not the face. So here we go. Saunders handles on in to take his kick for goal. And he sends it on his way, Chase. It looks good off the boot.
No, to the
middle left to right, and I'll go from one behind.
Kick to Chase in the space, not to his face. Is that what you said?
I didn't know it there.
No worries, mate. Like sitting next to William Shakespeare.
I would have said DJ Patterson anyway.
So Boolarra will bring the ball back into play. They need to score, and they need to score quickly here, just to get a bit of confidence and belief amongst the group. Mizzou with the mark on the half-back flank. He chips the ball laterally. Puts them under pressure, but they're still maintaining possession there, and that'll be Nick Miller. And he pops the ball into a bit of space there, and another mark taken by Sean Fowler. So Boolarra starting to own the footy now. Now we've got the long kick to the ruckman. The ruckman can't quite get there though. Ball spills out the back. That's picked up beautifully there by Bailey Paul. He chips a little half pass in. Mark taken down there by Dane Fawcett. Dane Fawcett rolls around straight away, but he's turned it over on the half back line. Boolarra win the footy again. Now let's see if we go chip or whether they look to switch here.
Chip hasn't worked for Boolarra this game, so I'd like to see him come a bit more straight down the line.
There he goes a little bit more direct, and the big fist sends the ball down there towards Skinner. Skinner bumped off the footy. Beautiful pick up on the fly there, and a beautiful pass to Payne. Is that Payne? Turn around, show us your jumper.
That was Dane Fawcett again, wasn't it?
Yeah, Dane Fawcett just lowered the eyes, but it is actually Payne, and he's marked in exactly the same spot, just about as Chase Saunders just had the last shot, 40 metres out, directly in front.
Well, hopefully Payne uses his brain, mate.
Oh, here we go, a bit of Shakespeare. Payne looks over and says,
I don't think poetry's his strong suit somehow. And I don't think goal kicking's Payne's strong suit because he's gone bang and put it through the gates rather than the goalpost.
Yeah, that's two chances for Hill and then to go to give a real big buffer to go 5 goals in front and just let themselves down there. Consistent kicking. Bad kicking's bad football, babes.
Yeah, and he should have just learnt from his the previous kick there before, but didn't. Anyway, ball comes out and it's in the hands of Fella for Boolarra. Taking his time, goes out wider, looking for McCormack. McCormack can't take the mark. Ball comes to ground. Hillen player has his head taken off, but it's still with Boolarra. Hands over the top. Quick kick, tried to get away. Couldn't. And now Hillen going to the forward line. They've got a leading Mooker. Is that Muggsy Mooker?
That's Muggsy Mooker, alright.
Now he's in the same sort of position. Has he learnt from the last 2 forwards kicks? Put it out to the left hand side.
You'll be happy to know, Paves, I can't think of anything that rhymes with Muggsy, so we should be okay here.
Bugsy. There's a few rabbits around here, I'll tell you. Here we go. Muggsy comes in. He's going for the Tory, didn't he? He has. He's gone for the Tory. And, oh no, didn't quite make the distance. But Boolarra come away with a quick hands forward. There's a fair bit of pressure on down there. Still running along the boundary line. But he'll now lead for the race. They've knocked it out to the top of their forward 50. But the handball goes up. Ruckman come across. Couldn't take the ball. Ball's hurried back into the forward line by Hillen. Boolarra, pick it up. Hands across. And it's going to be Boolarra to relieve the pressure, come out wide looking for and finding McCormack. Can't complete the mark though, unfortunately, and it's knocked over the boundary line right in front of the coach's box down there.
That was well done there by the Hill defender just in front of the coach's box. If Boolarra had it scrapped down, they had Aidan Shears just out on his own on the half forward flank.
They wouldn't have hit him on the lead. Here we go. Little umpire throws it right back in. Reese brings it down. No one can take that cleanly, unfortunately, but there's nice hands there under Dane Fawcett. Dane Fawcett for... Oh no, that's Aaron Fawcett. Right, he's danced around 14 players, I think, and then gets the ball back into the middle of the ground where he looks for and finds Harris George. Harris George now goes into the forward line. Ball's punched away by Boolarra. Comes to the front, picked up there. I think that was Miller. Miller kicks the ball up to the wing, but it's going to be taken by Hillen. And they'll go straight back into attack. Tyler Pratt.
So Pratt now across the half-back line, kicks down, longs down the line. Oh no, got to get the protractor out. You've gone on the 43 and a third angle, not the 52 and a half angle.
Didn't come back beyond your mark completely.
Yeah, so anyway, we'll go back and that allows Boolarra to reset.
Hayes just threw it in there then, Pratt's on the attack.
So Tyler Pratt on the half-back flank. Looks to go down the line and beautiful pass out of the leading teammate, but it gone slightly over his bonds, but he recovers with the handball receive. He then handballs the ball underground looking for Ben Kerrigan. Kerrigan's short, but he's not that short, and Boolarra over to break free. Now Shears out in front, manages to take the mark and he plays on straight away. Cleveland offers him a lead, but I reckon Shears is going to back the wheels in here. And he does back the wheels in initially, gets the ball over there to a teammate, and we go forward towards Sam Mizzou, and we've finally hit a target in the forward 50. Mizzou plays on, kicks towards goals, and misses. But some positive football for Boolarra.
Definitely some positive football. She's took the game on there, kicked it back into Mizzou's hands, who they've moved to centre half forward now, and hopefully they can get some drive out of him, get the ball in his hands.
Already probably scoreboard that's behind Boolarra. They're going to move to 2-4-16. Trail Hill End 5-5-35.
And the ball's brought back in there, and it's going to be Aaron Fawcett. Aaron Fawcett, it's only about 30 metres directly in front, goes for a nice leading Saunders there in the middle of the ground, takes the mark. Oh no, Mulqueen, sorry, both of them long sleeves. He goes to take off, slips over, but he's going to get the shepherd, get around his direct opponent. Now he kicks to a leading player down there in the forward line, sets himself, flies, but the ball's knocked away. Boolarra are going to come away, quick hands, but to no one in particular. They're lucky it's bounced their way. They've kicked the ball out to the wing here, and it's going to be Boolarra on the lead through Miller, is it?
Holmes.
But the ball's going to be hurried over the boundary line by Hill End, and we'll have a throw in.
So you're right, Pose. Mizzou has come forward. He's playing a true centre-half forward position here, and they've pushed their entire their forward line up to the 50, basically. A bit of Pagan's paddock here, trying to get the ball over the back. They can't hit a target. Let's see if they can hit some space. But they're going to have to win the ball out of the ruck, and they finally do that through Jones, and Jones kicks the ball out towards Cleaver. Cleaver taken to ground by his opponent, but the umpire says play on. Cleaver first back to his feet, gets the ball out. Beautiful handball there to Shears. Shears has got the moulded soles in as well, I'm going to suggest, because he couldn't quite get his traction. Pulls it back in right in front of the umpire.
Should have been.
One more house should have been all over. It's holding the ball every day of the week. Could have been.
So the umpire will toss the ball back into the air, and it's Mizzou with a backhander. He goes down towards Joel Mason. Picks the ball up off the ground. Mason off the ground! He's off to the pub, Page! You missed it, he's off to the pub! He's kicked it out of mid-air, half volley, perfectly timed. He said, thank you very much, I'm going over Palmer on Tuesday night. Boolarra get a much-needed goal through Joel Mason.
We were off air then, so I'm not sure whether they got it. What happened there, Scotty?
Oh, I couldn't do it justice to try and retell the tale, mate, but Joel Mason onto the loose prune, a half volley on the left foot, went straight over the goal umpire's bonce. Much needed goal for Boolarra. They go to 3-4-22, Hill End 5-5-35, and Joel's off to the pub.
And they've looked good coming forward, actually looking for targets, and Mizzou's making them look dangerous up there. As the ball goes up in the middle and comes to the ground, no one takes it cleanly. Boolarra's got their hands on the ball. But the umpire's going to step in and throw it up once again. Clean possession here from Boolarra and go forward again. Put the scoreboard pressure back on the Hill End. No, Hill End are going to clear it. No, nice tackle. Now the ruckman's got it for Boolarra. Hussey tries to get the kick away, but it's Uliano. Uliano comes out with the ball, kicks the ball across the ground, looking for a teammate and Bailey Paul out there. It doesn't go to him, but he picks it up, tries to spin out of it. Strong tackle there. Who was that? That was a nice tackle there by the Boolarra defensive player. Cochrane. Ricky Cochrane. And the umpire steps in to throw it up there on the half-forward flank for Hill End. Ball's knocked down by Jones into Cochrane's path. He took the ball and got tackled high.
That might be Pacey Meso, I reckon.
Is it?
Yep.
Meso comes out looking for Sam Mizzou. A little bit short, but he picks the ball up. Ball gets shoveled out wide, and it's Boolarra once again. They're coming into the forward line. Cleaver, can he get there? No, it's going to be cleaned up by Hill End with a quick hands over. Skinner doesn't want to take the ball, knocks it over towards the boundary line. Boolarra pleading for insufficient attempt. Umpire having none of that, and he's going to...
I'll tell you what Meso's last kick tells me, Paves. He's tried to torp that in over the back. They're clearly trying to kick the space out the back of the contest here. And Mizzou does well in the ruck there, but he only gets it down as far as Ladson, and he sinks the slipper into it and clears the defensive area. Now it goes over there towards Charlton Heeks, turns around the corner and snaps the ball back into Kerrigan, and Kerrigan takes the defensive mark for Hill End.
So that was just rushed again from Boolarra, kicking into their forward line.
So Kerrigan goes the old front punt, and he's kicked it down towards centre wing there. A big kick out of the ground by Fella, and Fella finds a little bit of space, and they've found the grass inside their forward 50, which is what their intent is. And it's off to the races time. Here we go. Big Harrison George leads in pursuit of the ball. Jaden McCormack chases him. Harry George goes off the ground. He sounds like a prince, doesn't he, Harrison George? And the ball goes over the boundary line for a throw-in right in front of the Innar Hotel sign. We've got 13 minutes gone. Boolarra 3-4-22. Hill End 5-5-35.
Yeah, just starting to get exciting. I think Boolarra are getting on top right at the moment. Some good defensive work from Hill End. But just a little bit different setup there in the forward line.
Jones goes a big torp out of the ruck. Ball hits the deck, spits forward, out of bounds. I like it, Paves. I like it.
They're actually doing this on purpose and looking for that ball to come in quickly to the forward line and leaving Cleaver and the big fella Mizzou out there.
There might be an echo in here, Paves. Ball gets tossed back into play. There might be a shadow in here too. Gee whiz, what's going on here? It's like an eclipse, Evan. Sit down. Ball hits the deck. No one's able to take it cleanly for Boolarra. Picked up there by the defender in Liam Fitzpatrick, and he kicks to space. The space is filled by Josh Hussey, and Hussey trips over his Diet Coke, and the ball goes over the boundary line and for a throw-in right in front of the Rennie Property Services scoreboard that says Boolarra 3-4-22, Hill End 5-5-35, 14 minutes gone, third quarter.
As the boundary umpire sits himself to throw the ball back in, Jones up against a small ruckman has the chance, but doesn't bring it down in favour. But Boolarra with a quick kick out of the pack there, goes to the centre half forward area. Mizzou hands on the ball, kicks it into the thing. Fiddlers covers the ball, knocks it on, gets it back, picks the ball up and goes for a little run. He's got a runner on the outside and Uliundo. Uliundo's stalked there by Boolarra player, but gets the kick over the top, out to the wing. But Jones for Boolarra picks the ball up, knocks it onto a teammate. Who's that?
Joel Mason.
Joel Mason, back to Jones. Jones kicks the ball, and this looks like Daniel Wilson will take the mark for Boolarra. Next kick, if they hit a target, they're in the forward 50. Sam Mizzou. Sam Mizzou's got a chance to have a shot on goal. Surely he takes it. Surely he's not going to pass this off.
They trail by 13 points. Much needed goal here for Mizzou. If you can get it through the big sticks, margin back to single figures. Mizzou from 40. 45-degree angle, kick on its way. Will the wind do its thing? Hasn't got the legs. Off the fist. Oh, it's a goal!
One of them's kicked it, I'm not sure.
They've all kicked it. It's all clear.
It's Mason or Cleaver.
Cleaver or Mason. Goal either way. Boolarra back in the game.
And who had the first fresh area?
Which Mason was it?
Hey,
Brendan. I'll give it to Brendan. I like him more. Anyway, back-to-back goals to the D's, and they're back within 7 points.
Both Cleaver and Mason there swinging their foot at the ball as it sat there a metre and a half out.
Oh, well, that goal goes to Cleeson then.
Here we go.
They can split the voucher if it's a goal of the day. Back in the middle we go. Come on, D's, let's get the contest going.
Boolarra to Hillian 5-5-35. Game on.
George in there doing his thing, taps the ball forward, handball over the top there from Brendan Mason into space, but unfortunately the space is filled mainly by Hill End players. Lux of fortune though, bounces back to Brendan. He kicks up there towards Joel, but the boundary line will beat him. And Boolarra back into attack again. It's been all them in the last 10 minutes. Tony Giardina's swung the changes. They've opened up their forward 50 and the D's are surging. 4-4-28, 5-5-35 Hill End, 16 and a half gone in the third quarter.
Yeah, Hill End really coming out firing, but Boolarra's turned the table in the last 5 minutes, yeah.
So ball knocked out there in the direction of Uliundo. He flicks a little handball out there to Mulqueen, and Mulqueen finds Mooka. Mooka then pops a handball over the top, but the handball's smothered. The big ruckman's done a sterling job there. Jones pops a handball into space. Around one is Brendan Mason. Chips looking for a teammate. Mark taken out there. Mark taken by Wilson. Wilson comes more central, and Saunders pushing back into defence for Hill End to settle things down. They need to own the ball here for a little while, the Hillman, I think. Mooka's the target. Mooka all on his own. Muggsy takes what would be about mark number 10 or 11 for the day. And he's a candidate to head off to the Q-Bar, courtesy of Rennie Property Sales for Man of the Match.
I was just there this morning for breakfast. Not a bad feed.
And he likes to talk to our man Muggsy, but he's talked it straight down the throat of big Kieran Jones of Boolarra ruckman. And he's been told to kick it towards the boundary line, so they obviously know the rules there at Boolarra. Don't give it to the ruckman and let him kick it. So he's going to set sail here. If you're going to miss big, says the ruckman, and he kicks it as far as he can, and it gets over the back of the pack and just over the boundary line for a throw-in and pays. What do you got for us?
North Gibby, we've got Woodside 5-5, leading Yarram 3 goals 10. So narrowed the margin there by 4 points.
So boundary throw-in here, 17 and a half minutes gone. Boolarra trailing by 7 points. Ball thrown back into play. Jones takes it, pops a handball into space. Stolen there by Uliundo. He reels around and looks towards half forward. Ooh. Huge defensive effort there. You've earned your stripes there, young fella. And Boolarra off to the races across the half-back line. Ball sits up nicely there for Meso. Meso dishes off the handball. Kick towards Wilson. Play in front, Willow, they scream. He pops a handball backwards. Joel Mason bundled out of the way. Aiden Shear's throwing his weight around. Wilson with the ball now. The umpire's blocked the throw.
Yeah, she's only got the one hand on it when he was tackled and the ball went up in the air.
So relieving free kick to Bailey Paul across the half-back line now. Hill End will do well just to hold on to this footy for a while, I reckon. They've kicked it to a dangerous spot here and they've turned it over again. Speaking of turned over, he's turned over, and when I say he, I mean Nick Miller. He's turned over the boundary line for a throw-in. Centre wing, top end of the ground. Boolarra 4-4-28, Hill End 5-5-35. We're ticking over towards 20 minutes gone here in the third quarter.
Yeah, the changes from Boolarra have really made an impact on this game so far. They're playing a lot better. As the ball comes down the ground, it's Hill End with the quick hands along the ground. Kick off the ground there by Hussey, but it goes forward and players jump on top of one another, and we'll have a ball up right in front of the scoreboard here, where we had Boolarra 4-4-28, Hill End at 5-5-35. Umpire comes in, Umpire Smith it is, throws the ball in the air. Oh, the young fella from Hill End gets his hands to it, but it's straight down to Boolarra. Boolarra with the quick hands out to no one in particular, but Mason onto it straight away, gets up, handballs the ball back into play, but the umpire says no. It come fully over the boundary line, and I'll have it and throw it in. Right back in front of the scoreboard once again. Players set themselves. Jones needs to take some dominance here. He's got a smaller opponent, but the smaller opponent gets his hands to the ball, brings it to ground. Hill End, handball over the top, but that's only to a player under pressure. No one. He's getting clean possession once again. Quick, hurried kick off the ground. It's going to be Boolarra first onto it. Fellow, was it? Can't take the ball. No, now it's going to be Hill End. Player picks it up, but he's tackled and spun. Dropping the ball, the umpire says, even though the player fell right into his back.
Did he have prior opportunity?
I'm not sure.
Long
Here we go.
kick,
Oh, that was a
off the shin. Cleaver advantage here by the bounce. Gets her arms up high. Pops the handball out into space there. Mulqueen cracks in for Hill End. Stacks on the middle. Who wants the footy the most? Ball it up, says the umpire. This has been a fantastic 10 minutes, babes.
Umpires are holding onto their whistle a bit. They're allowing players to crack in with their heads over it.
Absolutely loving this, and Big Jones in there to throw his weight around. Beautiful tap down. Kick it forward to the one-on-ones. Big Zoo flies. Who's down on the ground? Ball hits a deck.
Mason.
Joel Mason, don't tell me he's done it again. No, he's wrapped himself around the post and he's got a point. He's done a very poor Hamish Towns impersonation there. Tried to wrap his leg around the point post and got it through for only a minor score.
Really probably scoreboard, that brings the score to Hill End 5-5-35.
Bailey Paul's struggling there.
5,
Bailey Paul's hurt
4-5,
himself.
29.
That'll be a little bit of a problem there for Hill End.
So Aaron Fawcett will bring it back into play, and Rob Fiddlers has made beautiful space for him to the far side.
He doesn't trust him. He's in the middle of the ground.
I like it. He used him as a decoy, and then he's gone and found Travis Dyke. Now Dykey slipped as he's kicked this. Boolarra out here. Find a target. Find a target.
Mason,
they do.
go.
Brendan Mason rolls, reels, looks for Shears over his head. Joel Mason left foot round the corner. Jolly boy's done it again. He's got the guts out, and all have a look at him go. Joel Mason with goal number 3. Boolarra back within a point. You beauty.
Is that the Jim's Building Inspection, hotel goal of the day,
I think
Scotty?
that is the contender there, folks. I think
It's one of them. There's been a couple here, and they're all coming from Boolarra. They're doing a lot of attacking here.
And I think a couple of them have come from Joel Mason himself. So.
I think some good coaching from Tony Giardina here to change the game up.
I thought you were talking about good coaching for Joel Mason as a junior that's allowed him to develop into a good senior footballer. 5-5-35 each of two. If they both kick one more goal, Paves, scores will be level. Into the middle we go, Big Reese. They've broken the glass here. Hill End said, get the Premier Ruckman back out in the ground. We need to start winning around the clearances. And Big Reese has gone up and he's grabbed his knee on the way back down. Or has he grabbed his calf? He's done.
His knee. He's going off the ground, isn't he?
Yep, he's shot and Boolarra win the free kick.
He's going to chase Jones.
Oh, good courage.
Not real quick.
Kick in towards Cleaver here. Pushing back hard though. Fiddlers takes the defensive mark. Moving off. Hill End even need to hold on to this footy here and just take some oxygen out of the game and just get themselves through to three-quarter time because it's been all Boolarra this third quarter. So he plays on, there's Big Rob and kicks it as far and wide as he can, and it's a beautiful long kick because if his teammate didn't mark it, I was going over the boundary for a boundary throw-in. So the Boolarra players tried to convince the boundary umpire it's out in the full, and the boundary umpire saying, not a chance, champ, give it back to me, that was touched, I'm going to throw it in right in front of the Rennie Property Sales scoreboard.
Collingwood 3-5-23, Carlton 3 points. Just early in the second quarter.
Well, I did say all Carlton needed out of today's game was 4 points, but I didn't necessarily mean on the scoreboard. Ball thrown back in, ball kicked back out of bounds. What have we got? 24 minutes gone here, 5-5-35 each of two. This is going to be a cracking last quarter. We've still got a minute or so to go here in the third, and we'll hear no more about the Collingwood-Carlton score, I can promise you that. because Pave's phone's about to be turfed out the window if he mentions it again.
Here we go. 5-6 Woodside, 4-10 Yarram. So Golders Staley.
The only bloke in football older than you, eh?
He's not older than me.
You led with your chin there. Ball up on the half-forward flank here for Boolarra. Ball hits the deck. Uliando cracks in. Gets the ball free. The big ruckman for Boolarra there. Human blockade. They're off. Kerrigan's out here for the Hillman. Here goes the big torp into space. Ball's down there in the forward line. Beautiful defensive work initially by Fowler to trap it. He then gets a kick up there, looking for and finding a teammate, and it's Luke Miller who takes the mark on the half-back flank. He plays on straight away, goes long down the line towards Huss. Big Huss intentionally dropped that mark trying to turn his opponent around. He might have been better off just trying to clunk it and own the footy, I think.
Yeah, it was a little bit hard to say anything else, mate, considering I think I've got 11 years on him.
A decade.
A decade.
So ball tossed back into play. No one able to get their hands on it. The big ruckman, Reese, looks like he's recovered from the knee injury. Kicks the ball forward. Turned it over though. Boolarra with the footy. Horrible kick into their forward line. Ryan Ladson intercepts the mark for Hill End, and he'll look to slow things down here. No one standing on the man of the mark's right behind the pole, so there is someone there. And he's kicked the ball down the line to no one in particular. And my man Muggsy goes one way, then the other. Or as Trev might say, he goes this way and that way!
This way and that way.
And he's run too far. He's actually travelled about 8 metres, but run about 35 in doing so. So the umpire said, you've run too far. And Boolarra got the ball on centre wing here. And they're looking for one last attack before the three-quarter time siren. And I tell you what, if they hit the lead at three-quarter time, Paves, they will go nuts, the Boolarra supporters here.
Certainly will.
So Brendan Mason with the ball, chips into space. Big Sam Mizzou marks at 55. Turn and get it in, Big Sam. Turn and get it into the boys. There's one-on-ones ahead of the footy everywhere. Goal square's empty. Does it get over the back? Who's over the back? Joel Mason flies. Can't get his hands on the prune. Hayden Shears grabs it. Pops a handball into space. Back to Shears. Kick smothered.
Big Reese in the rough.
Yeah, he's done a fantastic job there, Big Reese. He looked like he was shot before. They were going to get the screen out, and he looked like he was no good, and he's been absolutely fantastic in the last 60 seconds. So let's toss this one back in 10 metres around from the Boolarra goal. Ball goes up. Ball tapped down. Brendan Mason with it. Gets around one, but can't get around two. Umpire says you've held on to it too long, mate, so that's why Joel's a better footballer than you, and he won the best and fairest, and you didn't. So free kick now goes to Nathan Belfer in the back pocket for Hill End. He kicks the ball out towards Muggsy. Muggsy Mooker marks. That's mark number 347 for him today. He's been absolutely outstanding. Just looking to slow things down a little bit here on the half-back flank right in front of the Rennie Property Sales scoreboard that says each side is 5-5-35. He kicks the ball long down the line. The big fist from over the back. Ball hits the deck. Advantage here to Hill End. They roll through the middle of the ground and take a mark. Got to get the ball in quickly. Big paintings down there, and the umpire says, no, it was touched off the boot. And we're going to ball this one in the air. That's all it could have been. I'm just making things up, Paves, but that's not the first time today. And Boolarra do win the tap, but don't win the clearance, although there might be a chance now after the teammate handballs behind his teammate. Now pops the ball out into space. Free kick there to Uliando. You're right, he's panicked. Every time he gets it, they panic. He pops a little handball off there to force it as a siren sounds. And what a quarter, Paves. 5-5-35. Each of two. Oh, you beauty, how good's this going to be?
I think the last quarter is going to be very interesting. Players are going to be going at it hell for leather. This is an elimination final, 4th versus 5th here, and no next week, no more finals for the loser. And Hill End, their season, they've been one of the premier sides over the last couple of years, really affected by COVID. So they'll be shattered if they lose this. Boolarra, they've been working their way up to it. Brought Tony Giardina back in the coaching fold. He attracts a lot of players. They've built their side up over the last few years. Attracted a few decent players from Churchill and then from TDU. Got a really good side on the ground, and a couple of good moves in that quarter have put them right back into the mix here.
So we might throw back to Pete Rennie in the studio to take a few sponsors' messages. I'm going to have a Valium or two and calm myself down and get ready for the last quarter, because this is going to be off the hook, as the cool kids would say. Back to you, Pete. third quarter. They've banged on 3 goals, 2 to 2 behind. Scores level 5-5, 35 each of 2 at 3/4 time, and we are going to have a cracking last quarter here. Full time in the A grade netball, Morwell East 59, got over the top of Fish Creek 40. Big win to the Hawks. They live to fight another day. Live to fight another day here though, Pave. 2 wins from here.
Look, I have to stick with Boolarra. What do I call them? 15 points there. I think they got the momentum going forward. Well, I think Hill End probably need to send someone back behind the ball, leave someone loose up here from Boolarra. I don't think it's going to hurt them so much. Someone running off that half-back line, if they're going to have it so open down there, and you got someone back there that can read the play. So just hope for Mick Sano here. He makes a couple of moves, because the move with Big Zam Mizzou up there and Cleaver, left alone in the forward line basically, is with young Maso running back down into the goals, and Aiden Shears up the ground has worked wonders for him.
Evan, your thoughts?
Yeah, it's a toss of a coin. I think Hill End started well in that third quarter, but really let it go. And that changed swiftly for Boolarra, with Mizzou going forward and Hearn going back to where he knows what it is, and Hearn just cut it off for Boolarra off the half back. But game on, they say I'll still stick with Big Hillman, the stump jumpers. I think they'll get it done by about 13 points. I'm not going to back out of that, but they've got the experience. But time will tell whether Ferrari gets bogged or he doesn't get bogged.
Yeah, we discussed pre-game the average scores for and against, and I thought anyone who kicked 10 goals today would take home the win. It looks like 8 goals might actually get you the win now.
You're not wrong. It's probably only 3 goals in it for the winning side here.
Yeah, beautiful conditions too, so certainly not a wet deck, certainly not windy to any excessive levels that you'd think no one could kick a goal.
Just been soft enough underfoot. Some of the players have been falling over as they try to take off, so there certainly would have been a need to put some long stops on, and people would have had a little bit more traction.
I can just see here in terms of setups for the last quarter, looks like Chase Saunders gone up to a wing. So he's going to wander up there to the wing on the near side of the ground. It looks like Hill End are going to try and open up their forward 50. Harrison George going up and playing up high. And they're going to play with Muggsy, Mooker, Payne and young Fawcett down there as the 3 deep forwards. It's all one-on-one, so 6v6 as they talk about in the AFL. Through the middle of the ground, Joel Mason's gone in there. Hussey in there and Brendan Mason in there. On the deck for Boolarra with Big Kieran Jones in the ruck.
Mulcoin clear space in front of him, standing 30 metres out in front of goal.
Yeah, so if Reese can get it down to Uliando, you reckon Mulqueen will be the target. So here we go. We've got about 25 minutes of footy left for one of these sides, and it's going to be an absolutely riveting last quarter as we look to get things underway. Any tick of the clock now. One last straggler just getting over the fence. Umpire says ball in the air. Clock starts. Bang, here we go. It's game on. So up she goes straight away. Looks like a free kick straight out of the ruck contest, and the umpire says it's going to go to Boolarra.
Jones.
So big Kieran Jones with the ball in hand. He's going to punt the ball deep into the forward 50 here. Mizzou's the target. Ball's going to get over the back of them. Aiden Shears with a little shove to create some space. The umpire says play on. Handball popped over the top there. Boolarra in numbers. Joel Mason gets his hands on the footy. Handball forward. Now it's picked up there by Joel Mason again. The old give and go to himself for some super coach points. And the umpire says, give it to me. We're going to ball this one up at centre half forward. No, Paves.
Is it boggy there at Churchill?
No, it's not.
It's 4-11 to 5-10.
I thought you were about to tell me Colin to kick 6 more or something awful like that. Ball now across the half-back line for Hill End, and they kick the ball into space. Big Harry George with Kyle Hearn after him. That's a backmarkers race if ever I've seen one. He pops a handball out there to Skinner. Skinner will put the Jets on and get past Herney there. Instead of that, he says, I'm going to just get on the left foot and put it right down Luke Mulqueen's throat.
3-6 to 1 for.
So Mulqueen now looks for Payne. No, he comes more laterally towards George. George flies. Ball hits the deck. Force it out the back. Can't quite get a kick on it. They've picked the free kick out for kicking in danger.
Ooh.
You see one of them about twice a year.
It's not the under 11s, Mr. Morehouse, but anyway.
So we've played on here, and it's Boolarra through Nick Miller kicking up to the middle of the ground there. Mark taken by Jones right in front of the Rennie property sales scoreboard.
He's played a good second half. So
he has indeed. Chips the ball into space. Puts it up there on his teammate's head though, like they've done all day. And this time it's Aiden Shears again with the ball spoiled from behind him.
Yeah, Boolarra really killed Shears going forward. Just sitting there. If it's not over his head, it's 3 or 4 metres forward in front of him.
Yeah,
so
better off dribbling along the ground.
They've absolutely killed him, but anyway.
So ball will get tossed back in here. It's Big Reese up against Jones. Jones wins it out this time and gets the ball going forward himself. Brendan Mason cracks in there like he's done all day. Big Jones throwing his weight around. You like to see this pose. The big bloke who's come across on a bit of dough. He switched clubs, but I'll tell you what, this is not about money. This is about jumper. The big boys invested. The big boys invested here. Don't you worry about that.
I think he likes to win, mate.
So up she goes in the air again. Reese versus Jones. Reese gets his hand on it this time, puts it out in space of Orlando. He kicks the ball forward towards Payne. Payne there, Mooker there. Payne flies! Can't quite complete the grab though. Big Kyle Hearn with plenty of poise. He gets a handball back. Teammate fumbles it. Ball on the ground. Who wants it the most? Hill End. Kick towards the top of the square. Saunders. 1 grab. 2 grabs. Can't complete the mark. Play on straight away.
Like dragging him. Up by the wrong side. That's exactly what happened in the last quarter for the Hill End bloke. Dragged her in underneath there, up by the wrong side.
Dangerous spot here for the Hillman. Ball goes up. They win the ball down to George. George gets the tap down. Flying snap around the corner on goal. Big Kyle Hearns pitched a 10 in the goal square. He's attacked the prune. And the ball's dribbled past him through behind.
Watch the ball bounce straight past him.
Handy points.
2 minds there, young man, whether to take it or wait for it. In the end, he didn't either.
Had it been a zinger box, he would have attacked it.
So Nicholas Miller goes out long, looking for the ruckman, who's held. Surely he gets the free kick there. Jones. Yep. No.
Nope.
It's gone the other way, is it? No, it's a different free kick altogether.
It's a mark to Harrison George, I think.
So the Beetle kicks the ball in, just sits it up. Cash goes after it, but Vince Corbett punches the ball away and it's over the boundary line and we'll have a throw in 15 metres around from Hill End's goal. Real pressure here on Boolarra. They've done all the hard work, drew the game, just can't put their noses in front and allowing Hill End to attack now. Boundary umpire sets herself, throws the ball in a little bit flat. Yeah, umpire's going to ask her to do it again. Here we go. Ruckman set up again. That's Harrison George up against Jones. Jones should have the dominance here, but Harrison goes forward, knocks the ball down. Force it. No, across the face. Hearn stands there, takes the mark, stands and delivers. Right in last line of defence. He's undecisive though. Goes short. That's not 15, umpire. It's only barely made it across the goal line. Muggsy intercepts that ball. Can't take it cleanly though. Brings it to the ground and the ball will go over the boundary line.
Well done there by Muggsy Moore, just to cut it off and just have it 2 over the boundary, 40 metres out.
2 kicks from Boolarra. We're only 20 metres around from Hill End's goal. Boundary umpire sets us up. Jones.
Knocks it out of the ruck.
I can't see that.
Brendan Mason breaks clear. He gets a foot on the footy and goes further up the wing there. Ball out the back. Shears picks it up, hits the deck, pops a handball out into space. Another big tackle there from Skinner, but the umpire says too high. So it'll be a free kick to Boolarra on the half-forward flank here. They need to get up and get it moving quickly. Need to roll that and just get the ball in there one-on-one and back your forwards in. They find Big Sam Mizzou about 70 metres out. The big lead comes down there, but that's a little bit slow. Mizzou now kicks the ball as far as he can. It's gone in deep. No one able to take the mark. Ball on the deck. Picked up by who other than Orlando. And he laces a pass down the middle of the ground. Mulqueen creates some space for himself. Goes laterally. Finds Skinner out there on the wing. He takes off. He kicks the ball into space. Payne on the burst. Payne on the dive. Couldn't quite complete the mark. And Boolarra able to get the ball clear. And the ball trickles over the boundary line just in front of the Rennie Property Sales scoreboard. And that scoreboard has Boolarra 5-5-35, Hill End 5-6-36. 1 point leaders to Hill End. 6 minutes gone here in the last quarter.
Sorry, we dropped out there for a minute. So on the Rennie Property scoreboard, we've got Hill End 5-6-36, lead Boolarra 5-5-35.
And Brendan Mason trickles the ball backwards towards his own goal. Kerrigan runs onto the loose prune. Big Kyle Hearn, though. He's resolute in defence and gets a handball off to Joel Mason. Second right foot kick for the day for Maso.
It's a target.
Call the Guinness Book of Records. You won't see that again. Boolarra with the ball now with Risky. He goes longer down the line of the wing. Big Jones sets himself and flies. Gets both hands around the prune and swallows it. That's your mark. Get up and play on, young fella.
They're running into each other, 2 big fellas, and they're both on the ground.
And Jones now just pops a little handball backwards there to James Holmes. Holmes goes down towards half forward, sets his forwards a task as they've done all day, kicking the ball in. Ball spills free there and Luke Marriott can't keep it in, so it'll be out of bounds for a boundary throw in. Half forward flank for Boolarra. They trail by a single point What's that, 6 minutes gone this quarter? Evo, can you see that score?
Yeah, 6.5 minutes gone, and then you got Boolarra 7 minutes gone, 5-5-35 Boolarra, Hill End 5-6-36, single point in front.
So Reese flicks it over the back, but they can't get the ball clear. A bit of aerial ping pong, triple aerial ping pong. Ball in front of Joel Mason, gets a B-grade bounce and the ball goes the other way. The boys crack in from both sides. The umpire stalks, the umpire watches, and the umpire pings him for holding the prune. Free kick, Hill End on the half-back flank.
Fawcett, I think. One of the Fawcett brothers.
3/4 time, 4:13 to 6:11.
So back through the middle.
Trailing there.
Back through the middle of the ground they come, and that's a mark taken there by Saunders. He's in the centre square, but on the defensive side. He launches a big talk, but it's half a mung.
Get under that, they say.
And Big Jones just lopes in, forgets about marking the footy and just knocks it forward. Now the ball falls to Brendan Mason. He says, that's how you kick a mung, Torp. And he goes bang into space. Ball out the back. She is first back to it. Gets a little shove in the back. Loses the footy. And Hill End turn it over. That's some seriously good defence. And better defence. What about the kick? How good was the kick to Tamino? He pops a handball onto Saunders. They're out to the skinny side of the ground now. Saunders has a bounce and kicks long down towards Mulqueen one-on-one. Mulqueen uses his strength. Ball over the back. Big Josh Hussey back there. Hovers over the top of it. Has a bit of company in the middle of his back. And the umpire says, play on. And play on they do, Boolarra. And they are out in the middle of the ground. Give it to Joel Mason and get out of his way. So Joel Mason kicks around the corner to Brendan, and he says, righto, Brendan, I'm going to back you in here, bro, and that's exactly what happens.
He's got a teammate there, just over the top.
So Mason plays on now, and he finds Marriott on the half-forward flank, and they've steadied the ship.
It was only the ruckman coming. Surely you could have stepped around him.
So he goes long to the top of the square, dangerous area, Mizzou down there, Jones down there.
Sammy.
I don't reckon it's Sammy.
No, it's not. It's
I reckon it might be Luke Miller.
Luke Miller.
It's Miller time.
He's taking the crowd 40 metres out directly at the front gate end of Thorpdale. Haven't been kicking many goals from this spot. The wind's been taken. So
Hill End haven't.
Hill End
They've
haven't.
had the shots on.
So we'll see.
Has he learnt from their mistakes?
Time will tell the next 5 or 6 seconds here, Papers. He mopes in the kick over shot at goal. Big Miller strikes it shockingly and drops forward. And a drop mark to the Hill End fellow right in front. One that he should have taken. But Hill End clear.
Temporarily.
To the Boolarra bloke.
So Shawnee fella picks it up just outside 50. He's got all the time in the world. Left leg, top of the square. No one home.
Well done, Ash Payne just cut it off there in the middle there.
Ash Payne's in the other square, mate. So
wasn't it? Chase Saunders.
Turnover in the middle of the ground there. Nick Miller wins the footy for Boolarra. Gets to his feet. Gets a ball stripped from him by Skinner. Oh, this is going to be a fantastic last quarter. This is absolutely sensational.
1 point the difference. Hill End's favour.
So, ball goes up, forward to centre for Boolarra. Big Jones gets a tap down, finds Joel Mason who finds it onto his foot, kicks it into the forward 50 there. Big Luke Miller taps it over the back of his bonce. It's looking for someone to run onto it, but the only bloke running onto it's the Hill End defence, and they kick it out this side of the ground. Ball gets over the back and they're off to the races here, the Hillmen. Through the middle of the ground they burst. They've got players breaking everywhere. Big Harry George gets it, pops a handball back. Payne on the lead, he breaks into space. No good the kick though. Kyle Hearn leads back in the chase. Wasted opportunity for the Hillmen, and don't they know it.
Got a full run and goal then, the young fella from Hill End, and he decides to go 45 degree angle to try and hit up.
But if he had been able to hit Dane Fawcett then, Dane Fawcett would have been able to dance around.
11 minutes gone, Hill End leading by a point. Last quarter action, ball tossed back in. The big ruckman Jones plays the roll as Rover this time, and he bursts onto the loose prune. Free kick against Boolarra!
Well,
and it's big H. George to go back with the prune and have the shot on goal. Opportunity here to put his team 7 points in front, and he looks about as confident as me if I had the footy.
So 100% on Scott.
Oh, dearie me. He looks like he'd be flat out getting the ball to his foot. That's how confident he looks.
Oh, he sets up Fawcett there.
And Boolarra out this time. So Joel Mason gets the ball sat on his head, and Skinner kills the ball over the back, and one of the Fawcett boys is down here and doesn't look in great shakes at all.
Yeah, but Dane Fawcett used to have to sit under that ball then from the big fella, and he's just, I think you want to cop one.
I think it might be a little bit worse than that, to be honest, Evo. I think the umpire stopped play, and it could be a lower leg injury.
Yep.
He definitely went back into that pack and did cop a
fair run through.
Yeah.
It was a drive by, you reckon?
Yeah, he's up to his feet, which is good, but
It's a leg problem. His right knee, he cannot put any pressure on at the moment. They're going to chair him off. And that's silly from Hill End. You're going to be one short up forward and wait for... He's not going to be able to come back on. You wait for a stretcher and you get your other teammate on the ground. You don't clear the passage, so Boolarra can easily defend you. And that's what I'd be doing anyway. But anyhow...
Well, the umpires have stopped the play, so they obviously don't know the rule that you can keep continuing.
Yeah, they'll wait till the play's clear and then go in.
Another Hill End blokes away with another player on from the umpires.
Yeah, I'm not sure unless it's a blood rule, you can't do that.
They're not allowed to.
That's 19 on the field, you would think.
They just let them.
Both umpires conscious of it, so I guess they know the rules and we're just here to commentate.
So
They look a bit like that, Paves. They know the rules.
if we were down on the bench there, Paige would be calling for a head count about now, wouldn't it?
Yeah, a little bit of controversy in the other game too. The central umpire overruled the goal umpire and a Yarram goal was called a point.
So what's the score out there now?
That was the, what was it, 5-10 to 6-11.
4-11.
Ball back into play. Umpires found a free kick for holding and it'll go to Boolarra on the half-back flank. So 13 minutes gone. We can probably expect a
4-13, 6-11.
We can probably expect a minimum 25-minute quarter here with that 2 or 3 minute delay there. And Jones just chips the ball down the line straight over Mizzou's head. Lacks the fortune though as Joel Mason's there to back him up. Big Zoo goes back in and throws Skinner to the ground in a big tackle. Ball comes out now to Fiddlers. He gets around Hussey. He gets a little dribble kick up towards Muggsy Mooker. Muggsy's been a machine today and he gets the ball into the forward 50. Sits it up there in front of good courage from both players. And the Hill End player's got the ball onto his boot,
That was Harrison George.
but he's kicked it straight over the boundary line right in front of the umpire. So that'll be a Boolarra free kick, and that'll be going to Jack Charlton in the half-back flank here.
James Boolarra is struggling. He's been a real workhorse in this half, but
Oh no.
dropped a couple of knocks. And
Oh,
that's a turnover. Hill End has the ball. Turn around, kick, going towards Ash Payne. Vince Corbett's there. Can he bring the ball to ground? Hearn takes it. Handballs over the top. And that's to Marriott. Marriott kicks the ball into the middle. Finds a fella. Fella goes out wide. Is that going to be cut off? No, it's going to be Chris Risley. Runs onto the footy. Quick handball forward of him. Boolarra go towards goal. Is it? No. He had a player in the goal square.
on his own.
Who was that in the goal square?
That was a big number 20, so
Miller.
Miller.
Miller for Boolarra.
Miller. And he just got burnt.
And it was Aidan Shears who backed his judgment, backed
So-
his skill.
On the Reading Property Scoreboard, we have 5, 6, 36 apiece.
If both teams kick one more goal, Paves.
The scores would be level.
So Hill End will do their best to bring it in from fullback. They play on straight away. No real obvious target here, so he's got to chisel in a pass and finds a teammate with a beautiful piercing kick. And they've got the ball just outside their defensive 50. So Hill End now with the footy, scores level. Got to be careful with the prune, but they've also got to try and get the ball to this end of the ground, and that's what they're about to do.
Another goal to Woodside.
So Saunders now plays on and kicks down towards Mulqueen. He's got Hearn for company. Hearn does well to take Mulqueen out of it. Ball over the back. Good tackle laid there, and umpire Morehouse says you've dropped the prune, Harry George.
I'd like to know where the prior is and where they've actually got the control of the footy then. So that was a bit red hot from umpire Morehouse, but anyway.
But Jaden McCormack will take the free kick, and he'll just kick this as long as he possibly can, I would suggest.
Yeah, Evan, but both hands were clear, so he could have got his hands away. He didn't. Drop the ball.
He goes long down the line towards the ruckman. The two ruckmen stand there and look at the two rovers who dive on it and go, I can't be bothered getting down that far at this late in the game, so let's stand here and wait for the umpire to toss it in the air. And that's exactly what he does. So it's Reese versus Jones. Reese gets it down, but he only gets it down as far as Holmes, and Holmes snaps up towards half forward there. Big Sam Mizzou leads out in the chase for it. He keeps his balance beautifully. Pops a handball into space. Here we go, Shearsy. Redeem yourself, Shearsy. And he kicks to the top of the square. Ball hits the deck. Umpire said, my footy. Has he said my footy? Or has he paid a mark?
No, he's paid a mark. Miller.
It's definitely Miller time this time around.
He's injured.
He's limping back. He's still going to take the kick. What he should do is...
James Manson style.
He's going to the bench. Smartest move. Put your best... Where's your full forward?
Brendan Mason's got it.
Shears has got it, I think.
Brendan Mason's got it.
It's exactly what you do.
And this is why he was runner-up in the best and fairest and not the best and fairest.
Limp to the bench. Doesn't matter, once he's kicked it, you can get back out there on the ground.
This is shades of James Manson at Waverley. Brendan Mason, bang through the middle. The D's are in front by a goal.
I think after town, the Boolarra's on the fence here just below us, and they've just gone wild down here on the Ready Property scoreboard. That gives Boolarra the lead, 6-6, 42. Lead Hill End, 5-6, 36.
Is that the first time they've been in front all day? Hill End have...
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It would be, yes.
So, with their noses in front, can they continue on? Miller will not be back out, I wouldn't think, the way he limped to the boundary line there. So, Boolarra now have the lead by one straight kick. The ball's slowly making its way back over the fence and back towards the middle of the ground now.
Look at Kyle Hearn's match up here, Paige. What do you think about that?
I think he's the square man. So
He says, not my watch, leave me alone, get me out of here.
I'm going to sit here in this hole and clog up a lot of space.
So ball in the middle, Ruckman, Jones versus Reese. Reese takes it out of the air. Ball spills free to Joel Mason. He punts it forward. Ball to centre half forward. Ball hits the ground. Picked up there by Marriott. He kicks the ball forward. Mizzou flies. Ball on the ground. Big Sir Mizzou!
That's in line for the Jim's Building Inspection, you know, hotel goal of the day, the big fella. One arm up in the air, brings the ball to the ground, dances around his direct opponent and slots it straight through the middle.
All while wearing the dirty moustache and the ugly mullet. Great work by Big Zoo. 2 goals in it. What have Hill End got to come back with here? This is going to be a fantastic last 7 or 8 minutes. The clock says nearly 19 gone, but there's going to be about 25 minutes of play.
Yeah, it's going to be a longer quarter than we've had with the little stoppage we had there. So, Boolarra, all the ascendancy since probably 5 minutes into that third term.
So 1-on-1 forward of the footy here for Hill End. They've got a 7-man forward line, 5-man forward line for Boolarra. Jones goes bang. He gets the ball out in the direction there of Marriott, but he's wrapped up in a tackle. Back to Jones. Jones over the top, but only as far as Skinner. Skinner kicks the ball forward. It bounces over Mulqueen. Big Kyle Hearn dances through there. Have a look at the big red bonds go. He kicks it into space now. Boolarra mark on the wing. No, he's dropped what he should have taken. Joel Mason recovers. Handballs back to Brendan. Brendan Mason assesses his options. Laces out a pass. Shears turns his opponent inside out. If it sits for him, he'll kick to the top of the square. He keeps it in. No, he doesn't. It goes out of bounds.
Alright, they've made the move there, Hill End, and gone and say, Justin Ray, go and pick up Kyle Hearn there, don't let him alone there in the back line. And then he sat out there waiting for Kyle to go and get him instead of going near him and running towards the ball and making him follow him.
So toss back into play, half forward flank for Boolarra. You think the next, if Boolarra score next, you think they're almost safe. Brendan Mason with it 70 metres from goal. What a pass to Mizzou. Mizzou picks it up on the second bounce. No, it spills clear again. He goes back in for a third time. Boolarra still can't get the ball forward. Stacks on the mill at centre half back. Umpires pluck the free kick out, and it's going the way of the Demons. Everything's going their way at the moment.
Short fella.
So I reckon that might be James Holmes down there with the footy.
8-12 to 4-13, 7 minutes in. And that's, I dare say, Woodside going on to the next stage of the finals.
So James Holmes wins a 50. The lifeblood of this football club for so long. He'll go down and kick this ball into next month. And Boolarra look like they're going to play Yanar next Sunday at Newborough. Huge turnaround from quarter time. Absolutely fantastic effort for the Demons. And Holmesy's just got to get this onto his foot and put it over the goal umpire's hat. And they'll lead by 18 with the best part of 20 minutes gone. In he comes. The Roar will tell you the answer. Through it goes and up they go. The boys come from everywhere to celebrate. 18-point leaders Boolarra, 20 minutes gone. There'll be about 3 or 4 minutes left in the D's with it all in front of them, and Hill End a massive mountain to climb from here. They need to kick 3+ goals with about 4 minutes of footy, and they've managed 5 for the day.
I'm pretty sure that's all she wrote. She's got Erling Boolarra through to play next week on Sunday. I think it's done.
We won't write it off just yet, but things aren't looking good because it's been all Boolarra since half time. Have they got 1 goal in second half? No. Hill End.
No, they kicked 5 in the half time there, folks. The ball goes up in the middle.
So ball on the ground, no one able to get it clear. The Hill End boys certainly haven't given up the ghost yet, but time is ticking against them. Hearn's still getting the matchups right down here for the Boolarra defenders. Ball in the middle of the ground. A crew of around 20 blokes around it. Bit of aerial ping pong. Kerrigan gets his hands on it, pops a handball out into space. Then they kick the ball forward, but it's a great smother down there by Reski. Stacks on the middle, and Boolarra will cop this for the next 10 minutes if they have to. But the umpire, Morehouse, has plucked a free kick and said that's high. So Hill End's still a chance to get the ball forward here. Play on straight away. And Mark taken on the half-back flank there. Beautifully done. So Wilson told to play on, and play on he does. I'm not sure I love that kick too much, but it's safe. It's been marked. And Boolarra hold on to the footy out there.
Nick Miller. So
Nick Miller now, he has the opportunity to go a little bit longer, and he looks for Jones. The ball doesn't quite get there. Mason pops a handball into space. Ball picked up there by Marriott. He runs through the middle of the ground. Ball on the half forward line now. They get around one. Back to Marriott. Marriott goes backwards to go forwards. Kicks the ball out into space there with Joel Mason's got it. The ball sits for Joel. He keeps it in play. Gets onto that left leg of his. Kicks long and high into the forward line. No one able to take the mark though. Ball hits the deck. Mizzou runs onto it, and he'll be happy to see that trickle over the boundary line. And trickle over the boundary line it does, right in front of the Yanar Hotel sign. And on the Rennie Property Sales scoreboard, 23 and a half minutes gone. Boolarra 8-6-54, Hill End 5-6-36.
Second half has been all Boolarra.
And this is absolutely Lloyd Christmas areas for Hill End, and there is only just a chance. And they win the ball across the half-back line here, but they're besieged by Boolarra opponents. They are cracking in from minute 1 to minute 120 here, the D's. They know what's at stake. Second week in the finals for Tony Giardina and the boys here, in a big clash against Yanar next Sunday at Newborough. Ball tossed into the air. One out of the ruck there by Reese, but the ball spills back towards the boundary line. Boolarra players happy to crack in there and just keep knocking it over the line. Wash, rinse, repeat. We'll do this until we can't see in the dark if we have to.
Till that siren goes. Here we go. Ruckman set themselves. Boundary umpire throws it in. Reese finds the front, drops the ball at his feet. No one can pick it up cleanly though. Bulliundo now, quick hands out, and it's off to the races there for Hill End. They come out wide, nice little mark. Hill End possession of the ball, swings around, goes up forward, looking for Bailey Paul, can't take the mark. It's knocked down and it's Boolarra, going to clear it. Mason, and that's of the Joel variety.
No, Brendan the Joel.
Variety.
Brendan the Joel.
Brendan to Joel. Here we go. Boolarra taking some pace off the ball now. Marriott's got the ball.
Backwards kick to Brendan Mason's on the cards here.
Here we go. Just down the line. We'll just get another stoppage here. Big fella goes for it. Can't take the mark. Comes down the front. Hillander off again. Here we go through the middle of the ground. Bulliundo looks for and finds a teammate on the lead, but he can't complete the mark. And that's risque for Boolarra. Short kick out wide. Looks for, finds a teammate. And, Marriott was nearly run down from behind by Dyke. I thought the umpire might have called too close. Boolarra with the ball.
So that's Hussey kicking up to the half forward line there. Big Sam Mizzou, first one to recover after the ball hits the deck, but he can't get it cleanly. I'll tell you who can though. Uliando, he's been awesome all day. He kicks and he finds a target, because that's exactly what he does when he kicks. Ladson with the ball now. Comes to centre half forward. The big little man, Kerrigan, marks. He's got to get the ball in quickly. He gets the ball into the forward pocket. Ball touched off the boot. Play on's the call. The big fist comes in from the Boolarra defenders, and weighted numbers will win out here. They go backwards to Miller. Miller then goes across the ground, finds a teammate in the far pocket there in Reski, and he holds onto the ball as time ticks over 26 minutes here. He kicks forward the forward. Mark taken there by Boolarra. They lead 54-36. Now we've got it. The backwards kicks are on. So they've got the ball in the back pocket. 26 and a half minute mark. There'll be only seconds to go. So they come back to their defensive goal square where Miller's got the ball. Miller now holds on to it. He's got Hearn in front of him, and Big Kyle grabs it like he'd grab a zinger out of the zinger box. Big Herney goes sideways to go forwards. He tricks them all, then jogs off the other way. Does Big Herney.
Number 4 crew cut.
Kicks the ball down there towards Big Sam Mizzou, and Big Zoo clunks it on centre wing. Big Zoo clunks it. He can give the handball to Wilson, but he says, bugger that. I'm going to hold on to the footy, and I'm going to tick some more time off this clock. He goes forward now, and a little chesty taken there by Boolarra on centre wing. So that'll be Wilson. He's got an option in front of him, and they don't find the option. They've turned the prune over, but They're going to go back in for the second and third effort. Lots of pressure on this forward kick for Hill End. The big boys fly. And down with the mark comes Vinnie Corbett. And he's got options backwards, sideways, and every other way. It's like Wonka's elevator out there. He can go in any direction he wants. And Brendan Mason with the ball in the back pocket. 54-36. Boolarra lead. 27 minutes gone. Only be seconds left. Maso tries to put his opponent on the roller skates.
There it is.
Siren goes. Boolarra erupts. The D's are off to week 2 of the finals, and Hill End are cooked for the year.
Sort of a flat feeling for the poor old Hill End. They've done so valiant over the last couple of years, built the side up, really done some work, and I reckon all but COVID's cost them the chance to win the flag, and to bow out first week of finals is always difficult, unfortunately for them, but for Boolarra, another week. You know, they really started this game off slow, come back strong there after the half-time break. A couple of moves there by the coach that weren't followed or matched by Hill End, and Boolarra just worked their way back into the game. Took a little while to hit the front, and then a couple of quick goals after that, and put paid to it.
No bigger move there was with the Hearn Mizzou switch up from centre forward, centre back, with Hearn going back and Mizzou up forward. Mizzou really give him something going forward in that, with the scrappy kicks going in, and really made a good contest. So he was a big part of the game changing in Boolarra's favour in that third quarter.
Yeah, so a 6-0-0 second half told the tale there for the D's, and magnificent coaching by Tony Giardina. There's a few other boys come down there to tell the umpires well done on the job, and give them a pat on the back as they come off the ground. Fantastic to see support for the umpires out there, and the playing groups out there shaking hands, all looking on at the Rennie Property Sales scoreboard, which says Boolarra 8-6-54, Hill End 5-6-36, and the Boolarra boys are off to week 2 of the finals, where they'll take on Daniel Taylor and the Yanar boys, who had the excellent win yesterday over Foster. And of course, next Saturday we'll see 1v2 in the Mid Gippsland Football League, Newborough taking on Tarwin in what promises to be a cracking game of football there as well. So we might take the opportunity to take a few sponsors' messages, and we'll come back with the award winners and wrap up here from Thorpdale. And then I'll tell you what, boys, we might duck downstairs and grab one of the sponsors' products whilst not looking at the AFL scores. Back to you, Pete. been as good as a footy today. It's been a fantastic day out here. A little bit of breeze, beautiful sunshine, and the Boolarra boys downstairs really about to rip into their theme song as they've won their first final in many a year. 8-6-54 up against Hill End 5-6-36. Boolarra winning their way through to week 2 where they'll take on Yanar next week at Newborough. And if you can't get there, you can probably tune in because I think that's a fair chance to be the radio game next Sunday afternoon. But back to today's game, boys. We've got a couple of sponsors who do a fantastic amount of work for us. One of them in the studio right now, Peter Rennie from Rennie Property Sales. He throws a voucher along with the Q-Bar for our Player of the Day award. And of course, the Yanar Hotel and Jim's Building Inspection, courtesy of Trev Hornibrook and Jack Oddie. They throw us a voucher for the goal of the day as I try and upset the technology in the room at the moment. And of course, Willetton's Transport throw a fuel voucher to the winning club and they get to announce their volunteer of the week who'll get a $50 fuel voucher. So a couple of candidates, boys, for the player of the day from each game, from each side.
Well, game of two halves as we were discussing there off air, and I thought one of the good players, Harrison George, for undersized ruckman there, especially when the ball was in the forward line, battled right through the game. Aaron Fawcett always does really well. I think Chase Saunders and Luke Mulqueen came in and out of the game. They certainly didn't get opportunities because the ball wasn't delivered to them. Muggsy Mooker was good for most of the day. Ambo Uliando was really good there in the middle. He battled on really well. Dane Fawcett up forward. Yeah, they just lacked Calvin Reese, I suppose, early on. Probably took some ascendancy in that ruck, gave Hillend opportunities that they couldn't take away from. You look at the Boolarra side, most of their players came into it in that third half, but one to mention there, just before they sort of started kicking goals, was Chris Risley. Really took some ball off that half-back line, really started to drive it forward. You got Ricky Cochran smashing through there. Sam Mizzou, once the game changed around, he went forward, become instrumental up there. Joel Mason, goal kicker up forward, kicked a few goals. What's his name? Jones there in the ruck, especially after half time. He really came into his own. And I suppose Brendan Mason as well there. And probably one player that was denied being a good player for Boolarra just from the delivery was Aidan Shears, and he still kept working the whole game. Probably come into it there in that last quarter when the ball came towards him a little bit, but didn't stop working in the game, but was, as a small forward, denied in the opportunity to partake in it.
Yeah, I think you've hit the nail on the head there. There's not a great deal I can add. Evan, you got any thoughts on any of the players that Paves might have overlooked?
No, not the attitudes. I think it's just about hit every player there, but just Chase, when he said Mulqueen and Chase Saunders for Hillend were in and out. Chase sort of was instrumental in the first quarter to give Hillend the 3-goal lead, but apart from that, he sort of went missing a little bit through the. You
told us after he kicked that first one and lined up for the second one, he is on all day.
I did say that, and I have been trying. I will admit that I'm wrong. Just don't tell me this. But yeah, no, it was a cracking final. Like, it's one that you pay your money to come and watch, and it's good to see that Boolarra, they've been down and out for the last few years with no finals, and that Tony Giardino, he knows what he is. He's a clever head and an old head, and he's going to take this Boolarra side in the next week, and they're going to give Yanar a fair run of it. Yeah,
so in terms of the awards, I think we've reached agreement off air. Paves did an excellent job of wrapping up. From a personal point of view, Muggsy Mooker, I felt, was absolutely outstanding for Hillend all day. But the one guy from Boolarra who was there from the first stoppage to the last, he's led them in terms of the way he's played the game. He's led them in terms of leadership from a coaching point of view. Brendan Mason, absolutely outstanding. When they needed someone to get their hands on the footy, he just found a way to make it happen. So Mason will be availing himself of the Man of the Match award. That's Brendan Mason. So thanks very much to Pete Rennie from Rennie Property Sales and the Q-Bar. Mason will be able to take the Dale out for a feed this week.
Yeah, and like I said, I was there this morning for breakfast. Great feed.
And in terms of the goal kicking awards, well, I think there was 2 best goals of the day, and they were both kicked by the same bloke. So brother Maso, Joel, the best and fairest winner, the most talented of the 2 Mason brothers by a considerable margin. Jolie boy, you're off to the Yanar Hotel, so you can go and see Trev, and you can get yourself a beautiful Palmer out there, and he might even throw in a light beer shandy for you if you're dropping on your way back through to Boolarra this afternoon. So well done to the 2 Mason boys, well done to Boolarra. Thanks very much to Pete Rennie for his efforts today back in the studio. Appreciate all our volunteers such as him and Ken Thompson who have copped the show on the road for the last few weeks, and we'll join you again next Saturday I think Saturday, Evo, we might go and see your boys.
Yeah, we might go to Rosedale to see Geelong North take on TTU, so that'll be a cracker, and that is a game that will pencil one side in the grand final.
Yep, and in the North Gippy game that's going on, it's 10-16 Woodside to Yarram, 5-14. So I think Woodside will be continuing on with reserves and seniors in the finals.
The Michael Duncan All-Stars get the job done, and they come up against the depleted Churchill lineup next Sunday at Glengarry, and that'll give them a chance to win through to a preliminary final. And of course, Woodside were champions last year on top of the ladder and were deprived of the opportunity to play finals, clearly going about making up for it.
That could be very interesting if Geelong North beat TDU and TDU come up against Woodside.
That'll be
the Michael Duncan Cup will be played for in that preliminary final.
That'll be a good one to watch and go and see, I think.
And maybe if Boolarra are knocked out of the finals by then, a few of the Boolarra boys might go and have a look at that game. Bit of interest in the TTU background for the likes of Jones, Marriott, Miller, Sagon, Cochrane and a few other boys. But anyway, nonetheless, thanks for your company today. Hopefully a miracle occurs between now and when I get home and Carlton find a way to win the game, but I doubt it very much. Thanks for joining us, Evan. Thanks for joining us, Paves, and we'll join you all again next Saturday afternoon at 2 o'clock, and we'll bring you the big match between TTU and Geelong North. Where are we off to? Rosedale.
Off to Rosedale, mate, yep.
Yeah, pretty good bakery there, so we might get in there nice and early. So 2 o'clock.
Good hot dog at Rosedale.
Yep. All the best. Thanks again, Pete. Over to you.
Good. See you later.